Four. What's up, guys? Welcome back to EG Pop Thunder with your boy, the young light-skinned Keith Sweat. And to my right, my guy has returned. Yeah, Flanny, let's get it, baby. The new PC, the new voice of the Providence College Friars, baby. Let's get it. And all the way to the left, my guy, young Charlie, has returned. Elray _ Jetson. And in the middle... And in the middle, my guy Cam has returned from his hiatus. So, I assembled the Ultimate Sports Podcast. Finally got Al and Flanny on, the rivals. You guys want to speak to that? How you guys feeling this year? We got to address it off rip. Eagles.
I forget. Cowboys. Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, don't forget the Giants guy.
And the Giants guy.
Oh, we got NFC East right here.
Yeah, the whole East.
Oh, man.
I mean, I got nothing to argue at all. So I'm not even in the conversation.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna end well for you. I don't think you'll be happy at the end of the conversation.
I'll just get frustrated and walk out and leave.
Everybody said I saw a tweet yesterday. I got another buddy who is a Giants fan, and he retweeted someone who was like, "My hope for Daniel Jones this year is to be like Jared Goff." And, you know, start this way and get this way. And the dude was like, yo, Jared Goff was a fucking #1 pick who went to a Super Bowl. Like, Daniel Jones, if he were to get to that point, would be, like, amazing. Yeah. Like, that's not what you think the level floor is for Daniel Jones. Like, I think people are...
It's tough. I can't even really speak on it anymore. I think it comes down to, like, discipline, too. It's all coaching. Like, maybe not all of it, because obviously, like, you need players, obviously, too, that are good. But, I mean... There's just too many flags. Every single game, there's too many flags, and like I said, it comes down to discipline. And that Bills game was just tough to watch. There was zero offense. I mean, both ends with the Bills and the Giants, but I mean, just tough. It's been tough.
Dude, that Bills game, I was watching it. It was like fucking like 5 o'clock in the morning for me, and I want obviously the Giants to win, and I'm getting into like I'm being a Giants fan at that point, and I'm like, oh my god, so I feel so bad for Cam because I just want them to win this one game. I can't imagine being a fan. Like the end of the half execution. To end the game execution, like it's just crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, do you think it's like fixable? Do you think they can turn around this season, or is just call it in?
I mean, they just need to make moves. Like they have no notable guys at all. Like if you were to tell like an average or ask an average NFL fan, like name the receiving core for the Giants, I don't think they'd be able to do it. I sometimes can't do it.
Yeah, I don't.
All I got is Waller.
I couldn't tell you who's healthy.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
If Sterling Shepard has played a game this year, I'd be surprised. 1 and 2, I wouldn't have any idea.
Like example outside of football, like the NHL, they brought in their Zamboni driver.
Yeah.
For I forget. I think it was like the Hurricanes.
Yeah, like for a goalie.
Yeah, they needed a backup goalie. The Giants are probably going to start doing that with the popcorn guy at Concession. Like they're throwing out 4th, 5th, like you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's funny because Brett had actually sent me a reel, and it was Sterling Shepard. I was like, I didn't even know he was still on the Giants.
I couldn't even tell you. He's always hurt.
I forgot. He gets hurt every year at the same time. It's just like clockwork. Like I feel like
the
he's
guy already.
What's that dude that became famous because the black dude who became famous because he would talk about all the places he would go to and then find out their HIPAA laws and then fall down and then sue them. He's like famous now. Charleston White.
Yeah,
like I feel like that's what Sterling Shepard does every year. He's like, all right, 3rd preseason game. This is where I like tear a hamstring so I can take the next 4 months off. It's like clockwork.
Who's worse, him or Devontae Parker? Because Devontae Parker's pretty young.
I would say.
Well, I don't know. Where has he played this year?
No, I would say Parker.
Shepard, only because I didn't even know Sterling Shepard still like existed.
Yeah, I would say Parker.
Parker just needed to get out of Miami.
I would say Parker just because of. I mean, he's healthy. Like obviously, the injury comes in like a factor, but he's healthy and he's dropping balls like bad. Yep, bad. I mean, Mac Jones can't throw the ball up the sideline like at all. But
you gotta help him out.
When you put it in his hands, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
You got.
Yeah, I think the Patriots are not too far away from that. Like, who are their playmakers?
Oh no, it's
very bare.
Right
that cupboard is very bare.
They're right there.
Okay, but so I agree to an extent, though. I mean, Tua had Gesicki, and he was doing good before McDaniel got there, and they had Devontae Parker. Patrick Mahomes had Juju, and Juju had 973 yards last year. So where does it come to a play where people are always making excuses now for Matt? He needs weapons. Okay, those are the same weapons that Mahomes had, and the Tua. Gesicki did well with Tua. And so did Devontae Parker did well with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So where does it come to a play where Mac does not the best weapons, but they're also not the worst weapons?
No, I think there's nuance. So like I think, for instance, like if I think of you mentioned Juju. Juju in Kansas City was what, the 4th option?
Yeah.
So like there was times where he wasn't always the 4th option, But it's a little bit easier, I think, to get those looks and opportunities when you're not the focal point and like shit, Tyreek Hill's on one side, Kelsey's on the other side. It's a little easier. Like I look at Mecole Hardman, right? Hasn't done nothing for the Jets.
New York.
He's going to go back to Kansas City and he'll put up numbers off the strength of that system, and it worked for him already, and they know it's an easy fix to plug him in. So I think it's a little bit of both, because Gesicki, like week 1 against the Eagles, he looked really good. So I'm like, oh, he might be promising in that spot. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think change of scenery, culture is different. Like obviously the Miami culture is different than the Patriots culture. We know one seems to be paying off right now and the other one certainly isn't. So I think there's a little bit of context there. But yeah, I think it's also where like you just got to be realistic. Like, is Mac the guy that can get the most out of other guys? Probably not. There's certain quarterbacks who can squeeze every bit of talent out of players. There's some who can do the opposite and will have that reverse effect.
I think the perfect example of that is Tom Brady in New England. For a long period of time, there's a bunch of no-name guys that he's given a name based off like them just being able to make plays. And then so I think a lot of like that expectation from Patriots fans comes from Brady being able to do it. So they're like, Mac Jones, you should be able to do it too.
And that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, no. Not
they still are though. Like on Patriot Twitter, I went to Pat's Paul Pritt, whatever the fuck that thing is called, and people are like going like defending Mac. They're like, it's not Mac's fault. Give him another year.
It's not all him though. I will say it's not all him.
It's not all
It's in New England, it's a mess. If we're really being realistic,
but it's just I think it's more notable on him. Like obviously it all goes back to the quarterback, but it's so bad. It's like to a point where some people are saying he's probably one of the worst, if not the worst, quarterback in the NFL. Like, and I worked for Channel 12 in the summer. I saw that firsthand in practice. He looked horrible. Like I'm not like, and that's mini camp. That's mini camp. Like it's horrible. And I'm not a Patriots fan, but it was fun to cover the Patriots. I'm like, now that I have kind of like an insight to it, I'm gonna pay attention to see how they do throughout the year because I'm not there now. But just picking up where he left off in practice in the summer.
And it's weird because his rookie year, right? Like Mac came out, I had very low expectations for Mac coming out because I'm like, I watched him in Alabama, just like most Alabama quarterbacks, game manager. Didn't have to do a lot. Even like when Tua was at Alabama, it was such an outlier because it was like, oh wow, this guy can do things on his own. He doesn't need 5-star here, 5-star here, 5-star here. He had it, but whereas when Mac got there, I'm like, I don't know if it's going to translate. Like it's not much different than a lot of these guys who've won at Alabama. Then he has that rookie year where it's just like, oh shit, actually he is a little better. He does all the basic things that you expect from a smart guy, or like all those keywords you throw out for the white guy, especially the white quarterback. It's like he's a game manager.
He was promising.
Like he's got sneaky good athleticism, like all these things. But he did, and then now you see him regress, and you wonder like, what is really behind the regression? It's probably a multitude of things, right? It's never just one thing, but like, is it coaching? Is it the playmakers? Does he not have any confidence? Like, what is it?
A lot of it last year was offensive coordinator when you have Matt Patricia running your
defensive coordinator, special teams guy.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So you're like, all right, so this year they bring back what's his face? I forgot his name.
Brian.
Yeah. They bring him back and you're like, all right, so at least you have a guy that's done this before. At the bare minimum.
Yeah, proven.
Regardless of if he's good or not, he was with him at Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So he's done this before. So you're like, the expectations, obviously, they're a little bit higher at that point because you're like, all right, it should be better than last year. At the bare minimum, better than last year. And it's not. It looks probably just as bad.
So finish off on the Patriots because, one, fuck them. I'm loving every second of this. So, first question, you can go L this way first. Are you keeping... Well, actually, keeping Mac.
No.
No.
Are you keeping Mac for next year?
No.
I mean, well, they probably will.
I think they should look at Belichick too, but...
That was the next question.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't keep Mac. Not if you want to win.
I would not keep Mac. Absolutely not. As a Dolphin fan, please keep Mac. Don't have to worry about that motherfucker or the Patriots forever. But that being said, who should be in charge of making that decision? Should Belichick still be the GM/coach? Should he stay as one, stay as the other one? What do you think? What's the thoughts on that?
I think he should, like, Kraft has to have a conversation where it's like, hey, listen, you can be the head coach, but GM-wise, we're going to go in a different direction because they've dropped the ball way too many times. You get so many passes. Like, even, like, I think of the Sony Michel over Nick Chubb thing. Like, that's crazy.
9 out of 10 draft picks out of the last 10 years are head scratchers.
Yeah, you're like... So you only get so many of those passes. As great as he's been as a coach, you can't take that away from him. But at some point, you have to be like, all right, we don't want to treat you any way where you haven't done well. You haven't been, like, you know what I'm saying? You've been great to us. So we don't want to let you go as a coach. But in terms of what we're going to do and moves and bringing people in, we're going to go in a different direction.
My guy Cam, what do you think? Agree with that?
I'm going to agree with that, too. Like, just bouncing off of that, when a team wins, they look at the players. When a team loses, it's always the coaching, from a fan aspect at least. And, you know, obviously the Patriots aren't playing well, so everything goes on Bill because he is the GM, too. So I feel if someone like I don't know, if a different GM was in that position and, you know, they get more pieces, better. Like, the free agent pickups that they had weren't bad. They're not bad pickups at all. One, they're not producing, and two, it's just it all falls on Belichick, like we were saying at the end of the day. So I think they got to make a different GM move, but keep him as the head coach.
Yeah, but even GM, like, defensive, like, wise, he picks them great. I mean, you can't complain about the defense. I mean,
the draft is where, like he was saying, like a little iffy. That's where you got to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they didn't draft Judon, but I mean, even Christian Gonzalez he probably would have won Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he was doing great.
Right, yeah, that was a good. I'll give him that. That was a good pick.
Yeah, he doesn't miss as much on defense at least. Offense, I mean, Jesus Christ, I mean, horrendous. So, I mean, there's no defensive GM or offensive GM, but I mean, it's tough. I mean, something's got to be done. I mean, I think I'm more on my end. It's probably just both. I don't think you keep him because, like, I think his type of coaching isn't with this era. You know, me and Elray went to Saints. They got rid of Sarr because apparently behind the scenes, like, he wasn't meshing with the players. I think at that point, you just get old. Like, you just get old and you're not meshing with the new generation. He's like 70 years old.
He's done with it after that. If they leave and, like, let him go,
I don't think he coaches.
He's retired.
Yeah, he has
There's
to.
no way.
He coaches again.
There's no way. Any final thoughts on that, Flanny? Do you agree or?
No, I think it's tricky, and I think it's so nuanced because of his track record, right? Like, it's not often you see somebody win that much and then they get to this point in their career. Like, either you see somebody who's won this much and they go out on top, they're winning, or they choose to leave before this starts to get really sketchy. And I think we know Bill's a very, you know, he's Bill, right? Like, he's who he is. He's always been who he is. It's not going to change. So my thing is, like, I think best case scenario for Pats, yes, he steps away from the GM role, which honestly he probably should have done 5 years ago. Steps away from, and I get it. Like, you know, I think back of Bill Parcells. He's like, well, you want me to cook the food? I want to shop for the groceries. I understand that. But I think in this NFL and also just where that team is, like, it's easier to be head coach and GM when you have Tom Brady. When you have all these
1,000%.
pieces and when you know you're going to win your division every year. And it's a little easier, right? When you're now having to do all this extra work to put together a roster, then coach that roster, it's different. That's why not many people can do it at that level. So I think best case scenario would be him step away from GM and be the head coach. But how do you say that to him? How do you have that conversation?
That's a tough
How
one.
do you, Robert Kraft,
the
go into
numbers
his
speak
office?
for itself. Like,
no,
this year, you know what I mean?
100%. But like, if I'm Bill Belichick, if I'm sitting there and you're Kraft and you come to me and say, hey, Bill, you've done this for 20 plus years. We need you to take a step back. In my conscious mind, I can say you're right. If I'm Bill Belichick with all the Super Bowl rings, I'm like, well, fuck you.
Yeah,
because you don't get here without me, right? And we all know all these guys have egos, whether you're a coach or a player. I think so often we talk about the players' egos, but we don't think about the coaches' egos or GMs or whatever. Like, they're still at the top of the mountain in their respective positions and careers. So I think that's ideal, but I don't know how that conversation happens. So that's why I think I don't know if it's the most likely, but I think what should happen is he should just leave. Like, you should say, hey, listen, this isn't working. There's no need for you to smear your legacy anymore. Right off into the sunset. You've done everything you could do as a coach. No one's ever going to dispute that. So just go. Then you can finally hit the reset button. Because if you're the Patriots, and this is where as a non-Patriots fans, I enjoy it, because it's like you either hit the reset button or you don't. You don't rebuild half-assed.
That in between.
You don't just think, we're going to have one kind of off year and then come back and win it. Like, that doesn't happen unless you're the Golden State Warriors. Like, it just doesn't happen in any sport. You don't see it. So, like, they need to fully commit to the rebuild, hit the reset button, and basically scrub that whole building of anybody who was like that Brady era and hit the reset button, because it's just not going to work otherwise.
But if you're Belichick, you can answer this first. What would you do? I don't know what he is. He's like maybe 10 wins away from beating Shula's all-time record. Are you sticking around to beat that?
That's what I'm saying.
It might take 5 more years to beat that record.
Like, he's not gonna get it this year, but I mean, I don't know. Like, does it? If I'm him, I don't know. That's tough because I've already got the Super Bowl rings. Like, who's gonna match that? That's not gonna happen. I mean, it could happen, yeah, but it's gonna take so long for that to happen. And like with this record too, it's gonna take so long for somebody to get it, and he's almost there. So, man, if I'm him, I mean, I'm him. But, like, I don't know. I think I would listen. Like, I would hear out Robert Kraft. Like, if he was like, all right, like, we want you to stay as the head coach, but we want you to be GM. I'm going to be like, obviously, like Flanny said, like, I mean, it's I don't know.
It's tough.
I would stay, though.
Their
I would
relationship
stay.
hasn't always been the easiest relationship either. You know, Brady was always kind of in the middle of that. Kraft was a Brady guy. Brady was a Kraft guy. And Bill was always a little bit of the outlier. And I think now that is just so heightened.
If he gets fired, would you want him on the Giants?
No. I mean, we've already had that for a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he was coming up in the league, but no. I mean, I'm not on good terms with Dable right now, but
he's on thin ice too.
Yeah, Belichick's. I just feel like Belichick's checked out. Like if all this stuff's happening, it's up in the air. I feel like he's just. I mean, he should be done with it. He's in his 70s. He should go retire and enjoy his life because he's already got all these things.
He just got married, bro. Enjoy your wife. So no
That's
Belichick.
right.
No Belichick. Do you want Daniel? Are you riding with Daniel Jones? Are you sticking by your newly paid quarterback?
That was a mistake. I don't think that he should have got that much money, or any substantial amount of money at all. But the same thing with Saquon. Like, I'm glad they signed him for 1 year because kind of test him out. And he's just injury prone. Like, when he's healthy, he's one of the best backs in the league. But
he's got to be healthy.
He's got to be on the field. Same thing with Nick Chubb now. Like, he just had a crucial injury. Is he still going to be a top back, or is he not going to be the same now because of that injury?
And it sucks, man, because I'm all for the running backs getting paid.
But then you see
like,
it right on.
None of them are.
Really argue.
Yeah, none of them are.
You know, like, I was all for Jonathan Taylor holding out, getting his money. Jacobs trying to get his money. All these guys trying to get their money. But it's just like, the proof is kind of in the pudding, guys.
And that's the worst part about it.
And then
look at Dalvin Cook now. Like,
Dalvin Cook.
I love Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, JT, you guys have said.
Should probably be the third option in the Jets.
100%.
That's sad, but it should be.
But and that being said, you chase those cornerbacks like the Dolphins supposedly were. We pass on both, and then Achane comes out third game, rookie going off. He's missed. He hasn't played 3 games, and he's still second. Or I think he may be still first. So it's like, it's kind of proofs in the pudding. Like you said, why pay a running back when you get a rookie leading the league?
It's crazy.
It's not. I mean,
it's really tough. Like, because on paper, like, we see it from where we're sitting. You're like, bro, pay these guys. These guys do they carry your team. You can't win without having a good run game. You get what I'm saying? It's the balance. But then again, Saquon's hurt. Like, Nick Chubb gets hurt.
Look at the Super Bowl. Isaiah Pacheco.
Was
he was the one who made the big plays for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We had Miles Sanders had his best year ever last year. We let him walk because it just wasn't worth paying him the money. Like, we got Swift. Thankfully, it worked out. But even then, with Gainwell and Penny and Boston Scott, like, they would have ran with that. They weren't giving him money no matter what. So even when you, like, as a player, they're important. The business is the business, and it sucks. But it's also like, you can kind of see why.
Business to business, Cam. So you're letting next year Daniel Jones, or you want reset?
I mean, I just kind of want a whole reset because, I mean, like I said, like, the average NFL fan probably can't name, like, the core wide receivers for the Giants. It's just because there's a new like, a bunch of different lines going out every week. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like a hockey team.
It could be Wayndale Robinson going out there, or it could be like Darius Slayton. I mean, Darius Slayton's a little bit more well known. Like, I think keep him. Like, he's got potential, but at the same time, it's like you got no-name guys. You need, like, Saquon's, like, again, when he's healthy, one of the best backs in the league. So you know that, right? You know that name is going to bring in attraction. If you got guys that aren't going to produce, like, in a similar position with the Patriots, Mac Jones isn't producing, so that's not going to reflect on his receivers. You know what I mean? It goes hand in hand. If Daniel Jones isn't playing well and he's got nobody to throw to, it's like, how are you going to win games that way? You're not going to win games that way. So I think reset that, kind of evaluate it this year. I mean, he was hurt last week, so I mean, you kind of it's still, I don't think it's early anymore. It's like halfway through the season now, so I think pull the trigger and just reset. Just I mean, we've been in a rebuild year for how long now? Like, we had a promising year last year
since Eli left.
Yeah, all went down
and it's funny because they didn't give Daniel Jones the money that Hurts got, or that Herbert and Burrow and those guys, but they gave him so much, but it was enough to where they were like, okay, we're not going to give you that top 5 money. We're going to give you really, really good money. We're going to use the rest of that to try to build a team around you. But that hasn't worked. Like, I forgot who was the receiver that they got last year. They paid him all that money, who had like one catch all year from Detroit.
What
was it Kenny Galladay?
Kenny Galladay.
Right, like,
is he
these
still on the
guys
team?
come in. He's not still there anymore, is he? Yeah. So, like,
no, he might be, like, I don't know,
maybe,
fourth string.
Exactly. Who knows, right? Like, he's just living in an apartment somewhere in New York. But so, like, you have those where it's like you purposely are like, okay, we're going to build around this quarterback, and then you don't, or you try to and it doesn't work, and then it's like, well, what the hell do you do? Because you purposely didn't give Daniel Jones all the money in the world, but
free agent.
He's on 6 catches last year. He had 6
Oh, no,
catches.
he's a free agent. Yep, he's a free agent.
Yeah, 6 catches for 81 yards.
That's
last year.
crazy.
And they paid him crazy money. I know that much. So it's like, That's another one they just can't see.
Darren Waller too. Like,
Waller too.
I love
yeah.
Waller.
I was so hyped for Darren Waller, and
The only time I've seen Darren Waller recently was when he was hugging Kelsey Plum the other night. After the game.
Not yesterday.
I haven't seen him on a football field, or at least not doing anything effective in changing a game. And it's like, they gave him all the money, and it made so much sense when they made that move. I was like, wow, it's a really good move.
Yeah.
But it's just for whatever reason, it's just not working.
Are you devastated? Like, did you have high hopes coming into the season?
I wouldn't say high, but I mean, I was a little bit. It was promising, yeah. But it's just kind of how crazy and how drastic of a downfall it was. I didn't think it was going to be like that. I didn't think we were going to start the year 1-5 or whatever we are now. Like, I thought it was going to be
building of last year.
Maybe not off to that hot of a start. I didn't think Dable was going to come out how he did. Like, he just doesn't know how to control his team. He's got no disciplinary acts towards both sides of the ball. There's always a flag. Almost every possession, there's a flag on the Giants' end. If it's defense, offense, the lines are just too jumpy. There's too many holding calls. They're not disciplined. You can see that. And then in that last game against Buffalo, I mean, there was no flag called on Waller.
That was bad.
I just think that was I didn't like the play at all. That was a terrible play call.
No, it wasn't. It was a bad call.
I don't know. It's just it goes hand in hand. It's not all on the team because the team isn't well put together. I get that, but it's the coaching too. So it's the whole organization in general.
For sure, but you weren't alone. My boy Patrick, big football fan, he said this was September before week 1. Bills beating the Giants, my Super Bowl prediction. So you weren't alone.
Damn.
I'm still right on mine. Dolphins over
Super
Niners,
Bowl
baby.
prediction?
Yeah,
That's
Super Bowl
wild.
prediction.
And he's a Barcelona fan too. This makes me sad.
he said Bills over Giants. I mean,
That's crazy.
And he's a Patriot fan. So
He was what was he smoking?
I don't know. Oh no, I'm still right on mine
Smoking
though.
that
I will
Patriots
say the
pack.
NFC is weak. There's really 4 teams in the NFC.
That's what you guys aren't done.
But I
no,
will,
Not you. Him. You guys aren't. Giants aren't
based
done.
We
off
should
the
just, we should
NFC.
just tank. I think we should just tank at this point.
And that's the thing. It's like, would you want to be 9-7
Tank
or
and get
9-10,
Caleb
or
Williams,
like
like-
yeah,
Yeah, that's
like,
what I'm saying. If you could get Caleb
something.
Williams,
'Cause,
like
and I think that's the thing. Like NFC, it's funny because I think the NFC is everybody, of course, was going into it like, oh, there's maybe 2 or 3 good NFC teams. Everything else in the AFC. But it's funny because I don't know if the AFC is kind of rounded into shape the same way. Like Kansas City hasn't looked like the scary, unbeatable. Buffalo has been hit or miss.
Jets
Miami's been
A-Rod.
really, really good. But then even the one Buffalo outlier, like what the fuck happened there? So like
We were
there's no
70s crazy, though.
there's
I think on
no
paper they
teams-
just look better.
Yeah, 100%. It's just like there's no, I don't think that same certainty. And I think in the NFC, like I look at Detroit, I look at a couple of teams, like, oh, actually, this might be a little more competitive than we thought.
Get into it. Now we finally get into the debate. That's why I put you guys on different sides. So I want you guys fighting each other.
We got a couple weeks.
We got a couple
So
weeks.
that's on Grayson's birthday, so that's a big day
sorry,
he's
Love you, Gray.
he's a
Well, he's an Eagles fan anyway.
He's a fake
So,
tweener
he's
guy.
an Eagles
he
fan.
roots for whoever's on.
He's with the
So
birds.
he roots for whoever's on.
So you're a Dallas fan, right?
I'm a Dallas fan.
And his son's mother is an Eagles fan.
Yes.
What's the odds of that?
Gray,
So
Gray is
it's-
an
yeah.
Eagle. Gray's an Eagle.
Yeah,
You have to watch that game alone.
So he likes it. He likes it, but I think he likes the Eagles because it's an eagle, and he's really into
Yeah.
animals. You get what I'm saying?
Nicer color. He can root for a black quarterback in Jalen Hurts and not Dak Prescott.
You and Dak are the same color.
Listen, I probably got mistaken for Dak. Now that he's like bald, I don't like it because I'm like, I don't want people thinking I'm Dak Prescott.
At PC, some of the fans like, is that Dak Prescott?
I don't need that. I don't need that. I'm gonna have to get a Beijing so I can look like Hurts. Go get a fade, skin fade.
So, let Flanny answer first. Who's finishing first in the division? Don't be shy because Elray's here now.
No. I haven't seen anything from the Eagles to this point, even with the loss to the Jets this week, that make me feel like we still don't win the division. Not to say that it won't be competitive. I think Dallas will hang around. They always do. I even think Monday's game, like that's a game Dallas loses a lot of the time. They just do. They find a way to lose that one. And if it was December, they probably would have found a way to lose that.
I wouldn't have surprised me.
But I think Dallas has done some good things. That defense is legit. Even with what's his name going out, they're still good.
Yep.
They were gonna be good. You have Parsons, it's gonna be good. The thing for Dallas, for me, is the same thing every year. Is the offensive line gonna stay healthy? Because when they don't, naturally, it translates to Dak running around and making mistakes, or the running game not getting started. I do think Pollard is good, but it's a little different without Zeke back there.
They don't have the 1-2 punch.
There's no 1-2 punch. There's no security blanket. And we know Dak can be up or down, hit or miss. But honestly, I think if the Eagles play to their level, I don't think there's anybody in the division that should beat them. And I think even now, 5-1, I'll take 5-1. I mean, I'm not mad at it. We have not played to the level I think we could, to the level we played last year at all yet. So that makes me feel a little more confident. And I know everybody's saying, so you don't want to peak now at this point. Do they need to continue to put it together? Sure. Should they have lost that game to the Jets? No. But if you turn the ball over 4 times against anybody in the NFL, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter who they are. And the Jets defense is legit. That offense is what it is, but that defense is like a top 5 to 10 defense, far and away. Even without their top guys. So, yeah, I haven't seen anything yet that makes me feel like we don't win the division unless, God forbid, the injuries have killed us. Like, our whole defense is second unit, third unit. But as long as that stays good, I think we win the division.
Rebuttal?
So, of course, I'm going to say I think Dallas is going to win the division, only because I'm a Dallas fan. I'll say this, though. So, I don't think the Eagles have fully put it together yet. They haven't reached their full potential, which is scary. Our defense is on point. Our defense carries us, and that's great, but it's also concerning at the same time. Because if the defense isn't doing, say the defense is having an off game, we need the offense to be able to at least keep up. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like the big thing, even in the Arizona game, was the offense couldn't do anything. And that was the concerning. For all this, we bring in Brandon Cooks. Tony Pollard's our guy. CeeDee Lamb's the number 1, but we can't do anything on offense. Dak was looking like the Dak we all know. You know what I'm saying? So for me, being a Dallas fan, I'm a realistic one, though. I'm super realistic. Like Dak, I'm not super 100% on Dak. As much as I love Dak, I'm not 100%. But like if someone else became available that was better, like I wouldn't be mad at it.
You want to trade for Kirk Cousins right now?
No, not Kirk. But like again, I think Tony Pollard, we have really high hopes for Tony Pollard. He hasn't hit that point yet.
Something seems off with
Yeah,
him. He doesn't look. Is it the injury lingering?
Yeah,
he doesn't look like himself.
He is fresh. Was it a broken ankle? If I'm not mistaken.
That second gear we were used to seeing. Maybe it's because you go from change of pace back to number 1. It's different now, right?
Yeah.
The focal point. You're the game plan for the defense when they watch film, but he just doesn't seem like himself.
He doesn't have that switch. Like we've seen it against the Chargers. He broke free.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it's a touchdown. And then he got caught, and I was like. I was thrown off. I was like, wait, what happened?
It's that necklace he's wearing.
Yeah, the Q collar.
What is that?
I don't know
what it is like, you remember back in the day.
The neck thing?
Around his neck?
Yeah.
No, Pollard.
It's like a neck roll.
Oh,
so like the old school linebackers used to wear the neck rolls.
Yeah.
They would wear those obviously because it was supposed to help with concussions. It's like a stability thing. So obviously that old school big bulky thing has been phased out. I'm assuming this Q collar. Now I've seen the commercial 70 times.
Really? I haven't seen one.
Pollard, and then there's a white linebacker. I have no idea who he is. They're the two spokesperson for the Q collar. I've literally seen this commercial a million times in the last week. Maybe because I was in Dallas and it was on TV. But I'm assuming it's one of those things. But I'm like, this little ass thing, what is that supposed to do?
Yeah.
It probably sends these shock waves. It's probably like the copper fit for your neck. But I'm like, how does that help you if, God forbid, you get hit in that type of situation?
So, Cam, since you're in the middle between these two guys, that's why I put you in between them. Be the voice of reason. So, unfortunately, your Giants aren't going to win.
The Commanders.
Who's winning the division?
The Commanders. No. I don't know. I'm kind of just checked out with football, to be honest. But I want to know what this conversation between you guys would be like off camera. Like, are you guys like?
No,
it's the same.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, like we're super passionate about our teams, but it's like like.
But what was it last time? Because last time we were here, Cam, we were commenting on L's Super Bowl. Was it a Super Bowl prediction?
I think my Super Bowl predictions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we came on. Me and El came on the week before, and then we did.
Yes, because we rolled the footage. Yeah,
and I was
safe to say I think I was spot on that one.
I had Cowboys Bills. I was not there, not right in any way, shape, or form. But like I said, I think the Cowboys. I have to say the Cowboys win the division. I can't physically say the Eagles. I can't.
And it's the thing is like it's not a wild thing to say.
No,
like they're only one game behind. Mm-hmm. We play in 2 weeks, so things could shape up where they win that. They're now leading the division. We know the Cowboys are competitive. Every year they're in the same spot. It's just one of those where like, yo, you got to show me before I believe it. And I think for everyone, right?
Yeah, because
it's
every
like,
year it's with Dallas.
20 years, so like more than 20. Like we need to see it in order to believe it. And I think everybody knows that. And it's just, and I'm in the same thing. I'm like, could they win? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Will they? I'm not going to believe it until I see it because it's just Dallas. Like it just is what it is. They put themselves in that box.
You're betting your money, Cam. Who you picking? Cowboys or Eagles?
I can't stand either team, but I'd probably go with the Cowboys. Just a little recency bias, but probably go with the Cowboys.
He wants the scene from The Dark Knight where the field just crumbles. That's what he wants to see happen.
And a perfect world.
Yeah. Who do you hate more, Eagles or the Cowboys?
Oh my God, that's tough. I'd probably say the Cowboys, honestly. Yeah,
Cowboys
even
fans
though I'm
suck,
picking
too.
them, but I'd
That
probably
makes
say the
sense.
Cowboys.
Because I
Eagles
say the
fans
same.
suck
Like
too,
people
though.
ask me all the time. They're like, "What do you hate more?" And a lot of people would say the Giants because they're so close and it makes sense. And it's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I hate the
And just
Cowboys
growing up,
more. Exactly.
like,
Because
I
they were
hated Tony
America's
Romo.
team.
I could not stand Tony
growing
Romo.
up. And like for me, being a little older, I grew up
Romo.
in the 90s. So it was when they were dominant.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
90, 93, 94, 95, 96 are my earliest memories of football. And they were this super team.
Yeah.
So like it's easy to be like, yo, fuck Dallas. I don't ever want to see them be successful.
Like I'm
It's-
surprised you say that you hated Romo. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Like I'm like so like love or hate with Eli. Like I loved Eli. Like love him so much. I love him now too. But watching him some games, I'm like what the?
What did
is
you
this guy
get? That's how I
doing?
felt
Oh,
about
he-
Romo.
He would look like he
Yeah.
was in a daze sometimes. Like all those memes of him. Like he
And
would do
that's
that
the
game
thing.
after game.
Like if you look at stats and performances, Romo and Eli's careers are probably very comparable,
similar, yeah,
right? Except
yeah.
one of them has 2 rings.
Yep.
Like that's it. And a lot of times that could be the difference of quarterbacks. You know this with
Yeah.
Marino. He
100%.
did every and everything you could do as a
Yeah.
quarterback, but didn't win the ring.
Yeah.
And then
It's
you
like
have guys, you have the Trent Dilfers of the world and the Brad Johnsons of the world who win Super Bowls and you don't remember them, but it's like, yo, they got a ring.
Yes, that counts for something.
Yeah, and I think quarterback specifically, like I think of a lot of sports, quarterback is probably most dependent. You could be a star, but if your team's not good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it just really doesn't matter. Like especially between offense defense, where like at basketball, we've seen LeBron carry teams to championships.
Yeah.
That's very hard to do in
different,
football.
yeah.
Very hard to do in football.
I have a topic on mine, but to end off this conversation. Does anybody care about Washington?
No, what is their record?
I
Who is their
don't-
I'm saying
quarterback?
in general, you're like, oh, I hate the
I don't know their
Cowboys. I hate the Giants. I hate the Eagles.
Because it's just like they've never really been good or competitive, since we've been around. They have a year every now and then. Right now, they're supposed to be good. You look at the defense on paper, they're supposed to be a top 5 defense. You look at their offense, they got weapons, they got this. It just never happens.
Yeah.
And
The only person I know on their team is Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
And
he hasn't done shit.
Sam
for
Howell.
them.
is Chase Young still on there?
Yeah.
Is he?
Who's the
wouldn't
quarterback?
know.
Sam Howell.
Sam
Yeah,
Howell.
Sam
Okay,
Howell's a
yeah,
quarterback.
so,
and
like-
he's actually not playing terrible.
Yeah.
No.
All things considered, he's played okay for a rookie who has a limited skill set at this point. But
So-
yeah, you can never depend on them. And honestly, I think it's just bad karma because their owner's a scumbag. Or their former owner.
Facts.
Now it's like Magic Johnson who owns
Yeah,
somehow
yeah, right.
owns- he owns every team in every league.
He
somehow.
owns the
I
fucking
don't-
Commanders?
I don't know.
Yeah, he just
Yeah,
recently,
yeah,
whoever
he's
just
a
recently
foreign
purchased him,
owner.
he was part of that group.
Yeah.
First off, I still call them the Redskins.
Yeah, no,
I
do
can't
too.
call them the Commanders.
It's hard
just
not
weird.
to.
I was
It's
thinking
the
that-
Redskins.
That South
fine.
Park episode with they kept mocking the Redskins, like how they're just like
hard
a
not
poverty
to.
franchise and everything.
But what I was going to say was talking about LeBron carrying a team and some like quarterbacks can't do that. Topic, obviously, because now betting is legal. Cam, what's your thoughts first? Do you think this whole thing that NFL is scripted? Like, what are your thoughts? There's no way. But there's sometimes it's weird because there's that clip. I sent it to Brett the other day. The Rams and like Seahawks game. The spread was like 3.5 or some shit. And the Rams ran to the line. There's no way they could win. They just kicked the field goal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that
To
was
get it
McShay.
closer, and
McShay
then-
had money on that.
Yeah, and it's ruined. It's
That was
ruined the
recently,
fucking
wasn't
spread.
that?
It was recently. It was this
money.
year.
Yeah, it was
It's
a couple
like,
weeks ago.
why did they do that for?
McShay
Yeah.
definitely had money on that game.
So it's like that. When I seen that, I'm like, that's fucking weird. And even Brad was like, that is super fucking.
Yeah,
weird.
like what?
Why?
I just-
so, like,
Because he bet on the game.
yeah, that was just shade. I saw that. I'm like, McVay. The only answer is McVay took the over or the under or whatever the spread, whatever it was. He must have had it because it made no sense.
I just think it's like obviously the players never want to, even in like a tanking situation, they don't want to lose. Every player wants to win and go play their hardest, right? But if like that Rams situation, if that was the case, the players are getting something, the coaches are getting something. It's all like a like money scheme. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think players want to do that. But if there's like an incentive, obviously they're gonna try to do it and try to finagle the league and go around it. But I don't know. I gotta look deeper into that. I don't think it's rigged just because of from a player aspect. I just think that like why would they want to be doing these things unless they're getting paid like behind the scenes?
Yeah. Yeah, Sean McVay was definitely on DraftKings that night
Yeah.
under
Something was
under
shady.
Sean McShay and making a bet.
Like we've seen it with the refs, like the NBA refs. There's been documentaries on refs that have
yeah,
games.
Tim Donahue, yeah.
So like
Even
situations
there was
like
a
that.
recent ref. There was
Yeah.
a recent
More
ref who
recent?
just did was doing some. They found out was doing some shady
Then
stuff.
they stepped
I don't know
down
if he
or something like
retired
that.
or stepped
Yeah, it
down,
was-
and then
yeah.
they found out that there was some funny stuff going on. It's
oh, in the NBA, no.
Yeah.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
a black ref. I
The black
can't
ref,
remember
yeah.
his name. But he had been around.
Oh,
for
he
a
told
long
someone pretty
time.
much like, essentially, like, go fuck yourself. I'm gonna fuck you over, essentially, and they reported him.
And then it happened.
Yeah, it happened. Then he told us like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he stepped down for the playoffs.
It happens. Like look at all now the more and more NFL guys we've seen get caught for gambling.
Yeah.
Like it's and like my thing is just like, and this is where I think it's very hypocritical of the league to be like, yo, you literally make billions of dollars every year off of the betting and being a part of the sports books and being connected and all these things. And like, sure, I get that it's a conflict. You don't want guys betting on their own games, etc. But like, yo, if they're betting on themselves to win, like, if anything, good. Now you got more incentive to go out there and play hard. Yeah. Like, it's just, how do you really police it?
You can't. That's the problem.
And it's like you're policing the players, but you're telling me
Can't
that
find
the assistant linebackers coach who nobody knows is not also betting out there? Because it's just like, it can't be. There's no way to get everybody.
It's tough. I think the players should be able to bet, just not on their own games. The problem is, like you said, you can't put. How do you know? You don't. There's no, unless you have like these specific accounts that are like the NFL has like the access to be able to view and things like. But then like at that point, are you doing too much? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because that's also like that's a personal thing, right? Like it's someone's personal finance, whatever they're doing. Like, how do you police that? It's a very slippery slope, and I get it. Like from the integrity standpoint, you don't want nobody going out there, betting on the other team and then going out there and just doing some wild shit, right? Like not showing up, like they're a Giants playmaker. It's just it's you don't want that to happen, but also, like it probably has been happening. So
yes, it's a little brutal. We're also about Romo right here. Trying to pull this one up. Is this Romo? Nope. This one is Romo. Have you guys heard of this? Okay, after you got Cam, he does some sideline interviews and commentary.
One more. Yeah.
I have seen that.
There it is. Good job. Come on. The body language. One more. Yeah.
I have seen that.
That's terrible. That was terrible.
Let's go. All right.
I fucking love Dan Quinn. Shout out to Dan Quinn. Got my defense busting in Dallas.
Jim Nance sounds just like him. When you hear stuff like that, Cam, are you like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like I don't think I would ever bring my personality that much into a broadcast, but I mean, it is entertaining. But at the same time, it's like, what the?
Dude, what was that?
Romo has those moments where you're like, is he okay?
Yeah.
Is he a little?
He is smart. Like
he's very smart. Yeah, a lot of people hate when he's doing the game. I love the game when because he's calling everything out, like stuff like I'm into football, like I played football, but like this stuff he calls, I'm like, oh shit, and like and it happens, and you're like, obviously he was a quarterback for so long, so obviously he has an understanding. He's literally seen the game from a different view. But for me, like as a viewer, like I think it's super cool. But I could see how it could be annoying to people, like even him in general sometimes.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's him. Sometimes he gets just he does a little too much. I think it's similar to like his quarterbacking style, right? Like he'll have a really good game, and at the end he'll just do some wild shit. Like, yo, what are you doing?
What?
But overall, I always enjoyed it. Like when he started doing, I was like, this is cool. Because again, just as a fan of the game who tries to look at it through more of a coach lens or player lens and see those things, it's nice for either confirmation or new understanding. To be, okay, that's what that check was. This is what he was thinking. Oh, that makes sense why he made that move. Or even if it doesn't pan out, I think it's probably more of the like average fan who doesn't like it.
Yeah.
As opposed to more of the educated fan.
I would say the same thing. I mean, watching a broadcast, I mean, from my perspective, you want to know you want to hear somebody that's knowledgeable. So if they're kind of just saying nonsense, like if they're kind of just repeating what the play-by-play guy said, it's kind of like it's kind of like you can see that from like a naked eye view. But for me, I'm very meticulous on how I go about broadcasting because I don't want to sound repetitive and I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I feel like people sound like they don't know what they're talking about when they're like or they're like, oh, I think, and stuff like that. And he just obviously he played in the NFL like we said, and quarterback looking at the game from a different perspective, but he just nails it on the head every single time. Like before the play is like about to happen, he's like, oh, they're in this formation, this, that, and then boom, it happens. So I think that's a credit to the people that hired him and a credit to just his knowledge. And I mean, I'm thinking like in my head, like if Tom Brady could bring that to like,
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, I've been wondering what Brady's going to look like in the booth.
I thought he was supposed to do it this year.
Wasn't it supposed to be this year?
I think he like turned it. I don't know if he turned it down or if I don't know. But I remember it was supposed to happen this year, like a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, because he signed the deal before.
I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I wonder what he's going to be like. Because I was thinking like you have a Romo, and then I think of to me at least on the other end of the spectrum, you have someone like RG3. Who he does a lot of college football games for ESPN. And like I have no issues with RG3 the person. RG3 the commentator drives me absolutely crazy because he just tries to make every single pop culture reference to sound cool. And it's like, yo, bro, that had nothing to do with the play, nothing to do with the sport. You're just trying to do something to like
But another
make it
he's
sound
good.
good.
Like he knows what he's talking
about.
He
doesn't need to do that. And in my head I'm like, yo, RG3, I don't know. It's sad because it seems like he's up there tap dancing, like trying to make people happy with him. I'm like, yo, just be you. Because you played the position. So like
so you know it.
Off the strength of that alone, you know more than me. You know more than 99% of the people watching. So just be you. And he tries to do too much. Like you have like the Gus Johnsons who do it well. Right, like he's very animated over the top, but it just fits with what he's doing. I think of a Scott Van Pelt who can make pop culture reference and make everybody he's talking to sound good and comfortable, but he just does his job.
You make it one, not 100.
Yeah,
not
like
your whole,
so, like
yeah.
it could be the opposite. I'd rather have someone be a little cornier or dry because they're giving you the information you don't have, as opposed to someone who's doing that to just fill airtime, try to sound cool. Like, I don't need that.
Who's the black announcer on NBA who does it on ABC?
For the NBA?
Mark
Yeah.
Jackson?
No,
well,
no,
not
no,
anymore,
no.
but
On ABC?
Man, he does a whole bunch of pop culture references. I'm like, all right, bro. Like,
Is he a play-by-play guy, color commentator?
more like color, yeah.
He's an ABC.
I'm trying
Pretty
to think. I can't
positive.
think of ABC because
I
like,
should
you
know
think
more
of
of these people. I'm
Breen.
trying to think.
Yeah, you think of Breen, Mark Jackson, and Van Gundy was
What's the other
ABC
one?
crew.
It's like the
Mark
the
Jones?
B crew.
I love Mark Jones.
No,
Mark
it's not
Jones
Mark
does make some
Jones.
pop culture references, but they're usually spot on.
Yeah. Fuck.
I don't know.
Look it up during the podcast.
about
But
it.
dude, is he like RG3? Is he like Morrow, Ranello? Ranello did it non-stop in like WWE, and I'm like, dude.
Yes.
Relax,
He
bro.
does. Yes. So yeah, in terms of Morrow, always Mamma Mia, like everything, and it's like again, I like Morrow because he's usually really knowledgeable, and I like the general excitement. Like it's nice to know you're covering this, but you actually enjoy it. But he just goes too like everything is like tries to make a pun about a song or this, and a lot of times it doesn't hit because he's forcing it. It doesn't come natural, so you can catch it, and I think that's where the less educated fan enjoys it as opposed to the more educated fan.
Oh, he's the NFL. Mike Tirico's in the NFL.
No,
Mike
Mark
Tirico.
Jones.
Oh, Mark Jones.
He does it all the time.
Mike Tirico's hilarious.
Not-
He doesn't know he's black. No, I'm serious. He doesn't know he's a black person. He's had like sound bites and all. He's from Canada. It's hilarious. Like he doesn't know he's black.
No, it's Mark Jones. It's not
Mark
bad.
Jones, no,
I like Mark
sometimes
Jones.
he does
it.
too much. Usually he's pretty good, especially if he's paired up with somebody knowledgeable. But there's times where he can go a little above and beyond.
Yeah. Do you see this one? This is literally hilarious. What are your thoughts on this, Cam? Being like, was it on purpose or was this?
He's built relationships with the players.
yes.
I tell you what, he's dealt with a lot of adversity to get here. He's grateful to be Washington's quarterback, and they know that every time he takes the field, he's going to bring that big Penix energy. He's going to bring that big Penix energy. He's going to bring that big
This is on national television?
That's right, Harry. Let's go, baby.
He's saying big Phoenix energy.
Yeah,
the
so
quarterback.
Michael Penix. So his name is Michael Penix Jr.
Penix.
But it's spelled Penix. So, naturally, and it's funny because I was watching that live. And I was just like, yo, he's wilding. But it's funny because if you ever watched Game Day before, Desmond's been on there forever. The new guy is Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
So McAfee's amazing. But McAfee pushes the limits and says on that same broadcast, they brought over food, and it was like one was like a more veggie plate, one had meat on. He's like, oh, I love meat in my mouth. Like on the broadcast, everybody else is dying because like I can't believe you just said that. But so Desmond on that same show, that was his way of trying to like do it, and it was so blatant and obvious what he was doing. But it was also kind of hilarious because all the signs in the crowd.
I didn't even know
were
he was
pretty
saying
much the
Phoenix
same
until
thing.
you said
I
that.
know,
So
I was
his
also
name's
he was
Michael
saying
Penix.
Penix,
So it's
like, he
like
still has a
it's
job?
Michael Penix Jr. So like that was how you get away with it, but. You can tell they pushed the limits on that. Now that McAfee is there. Pre-McAfee on game day, they would have never even thought to push the limits. Now it's totally different, which is cool because it lets Desmond be a little more like Desmond, even Herb Street and Reese Davis. Like,
I don't
but
know.
that shit was hilarious.
If I were to ever get, I mean, I will get to that point one day where I have a solidified job like that. But
Get it.
I just think,
Hell yeah.
being me, like I think I'm a genuine like funny person, but I don't like force stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
the natural.
yeah,
that was
being-
too much.
yeah.
That was too much.
Being me on a broadcast is like I love how my voice sounds, and I'm very meticulous, like I said, on how I like pick apart what I got to get better at, and I'm sure you do the same thing too now, being like the MC and ways to get better and ways to just genuinely be you and have the crowd engaged. So I try to do the same thing. So if something's not like clicking, and I'm like, okay, I got to take that out or do this, I'm not gonna try to be like, hey, like a completely different person. You know what I mean? Like you said, like with RG3, I just don't think that would ever be in my mantra. But like people like that, like it makes you cringe. Like,
But this is
I
a
don't-
perfect example. If his name is not Michael Penix, you can never make that joke.
And
Yeah.
he
So
might have
like
been in
that
some
is
trouble
not
if it
going to
wasn't, yeah.
resonate with any other player. That's
Yeah.
only something specific to one individual. And and it's like you can't make your material specific to one person or one
Yeah, it's
position.
gotta-
It doesn't resonate. Like it has to be something where everybody can rally around and understand, or that something you can say and do multiple times. Like that's one thing. Like, so it's just, that's not something you can base what you
Yeah.
do off of.
Yeah, it's a little brutal. Oh, you didn't like it?
it was a force. It was a force.
Have you guys not seen that?
No,
I've
that
never
was the
seen
first
that.
time I seen
Such
it.
a
Yeah.
It was like last week, right?
And Michael Penix Jr. is
Yeah.
a beast. He's the Heisman favorite right now. He just they were number 7 in the country. They beat Oregon last week, who I think was 6 on a game-winning drive from him. He started at Indiana, 2 torn ACLs back-to-back years.
Damn.
Torn the ACL rehab. They came back, torn it again. Followed his coach from Indiana to Washington now, and he's everyone's Heisman favorite.
Are you a big college guy, Cam?
No, I'm not. That's why I didn't see that. I mean, I report for URI. That's kind of like my only fandom I have for college football. But I mean, I stay in the loop, obviously, with the big plays and big name guys. But I mean, I've loved watching URI football the last few years, so that's been fun.
Yeah. I mean, so last time you came on, you said you were doing that over the summer. You were intern for WPRI.
I was, yep.
Maybe we haven't caught up on that. Since the last time you've been, Flanny and you guys been making moves. We'll touch back NFL after this topic, but came up right now. So how was your internship at WPRI? Well, before that, you actually did a documentary for Coach Mazzulla. If you want to get into it, how was that? I'm gonna pull it up right now. Right here. Yep.
Did you talk about that a little bit last time?
No, because I didn't. It wasn't out yet.
It wasn't a.
I put it in the.
The town of Johnston is now home to a new multi-million-dollar recreation center. Look at them clapping. The grand opening today drew a huge crowd. And thankfully for those in attendance, it's an indoor facility.
I usually tell my athletes there's no crying. But this is truly a great day in Johnston.
This whole thing about coaching, it wasn't just coaching to win games. It was coaching to win in life.
That coaching aspect, it was something that growing up, that was our lives. That was him as a dad, and I don't think I'd change it. I loved it.
There's a quick little snippet.
Yeah.
Tap into Cam's Instagram, see the rest of it. But you can talk over it. Here's like his high school coach. Pretty sure his former players and sons right there. So how was that? How did that come about? How was the outcome? And what thoughts and the things you have to say about the Coach Mazzulla documentary?
Yeah. I mean, watching it back, I mean, it kind of gives me chills looking back at it. But one day I was driving home from I think a game, and it just kind of clicked in my head, and I'm like, this man was somebody that was so impactful in my life, and honestly, like to this day, I talk about him in every single instance of my life. So, and I'm big on public speaking. I'm big on I've done a lot of guest speaking things at like Hendricken in Warwick, Rhode Island, and Johnston as well, and every single instance I'm always talking about him. And I just started the idea. I was like, maybe I could do like some kind of film. Like I had no really, I still really don't have. I mean, I have better experience now with it, like film editing and production and all that stuff. So I called my dad and I was like, Dad, what if I did like a documentary on Danny and interviewed Joe, and just kind of had like a 30 for 30 kind of thing for Danny. And he was like, that's a great idea. Can you do that? And I'm like, I mean, I got a little camera and I got a tripod and a spotlight. I mean, I go around New England and just interview as many people as I can. And I ran it by his youngest son, Justin, who I'm very close with now. And he was like, I love the idea. I just did a thing on that for Joe for like the Boston Globe. This was back in October, last year. Yeah. And he was like, let's chat. So Justin was at URI as a grad assistant coach. And I met him at the President's Suite in the Ryan Center. And he's like, you got any questions? I'm like, I did this all last night. I had like a page of questions for him, 2 pages of questions. And he was like, here's a list of people. I came up with a list. He came up with a list. We joined on it. And I interviewed about like 40 people for the documentary and tried to make it like an hour, catch people's attention, not too long, not too short. Yep. And after that was in October. I remember that same day, Trippie Redd was at URI. So like there was like just so much commotion going on. And I was like, I don't want to do this again, but I want to make this like perfect. So there was a lot of instances where I was like, oh, this might have not sounded right. This not have sounded, there was just some kind of, miscommunication with some things, but everything panned out well. And, it was that day, it was just amazing to be able to premiere it. There was, I think, like 400 people at the rec, 400 people at the rec. And I think there was like 5,000 views on YouTube. So, I mean, not blown up, but I think blown up in the state of Rhode Island. And it got known over the radio. They were talking to Joe at the Sports Hub. And they were talking about me. They were talking about the documentary, the production, how excited he is for it, and all this. And to hear Joe, speak on my name was pretty cool. And WPRI also did help promote it too. So I mean, it was a great experience, really.
You guys want to say, Flanny?
No. I just thought it was awesome. I know, last time Kim was kind of, I think that was the early stages of you putting everything together. And obviously I thought it was amazing. I obviously knew a little bit about Danny just from my coaching in high school. And, we played against Johnston a ton of times. And, someone who's been instrumental in my life, Coach DeMayo is from Johnston and obviously knew him well and always spoke so highly of him and the entire family. And, I got to coach against Justin and obviously watch Joe grow up. And so it was really, really cool for me, someone who's not from Johnston, who didn't necessarily know the ins and the outs. I knew that he was such a huge figure in that town, but I guess even until this, I didn't realize quite how big or how many folks he impacted. And I have like a similar experience with my high school coach who was like a second dad to me, to have that relationship. So it was really, really cool to see. And I think to your point, Cam, of like, that's something that's going to always live there. So like every single iteration of kids who will come to that town, play basketball at Johnston and know the lore of Danny Mazzulla now will have something that they can actually kind of do their homework on. And I think that's awesome because that's something that will transcend you and your time in this area, in this space, et cetera, that will always kind of live on. And it's just nice because it's also a slice of home. So I'm sure it meant that much more knowing that you were doing this in your own place, you know, where you grew up and where you were kind of shaped.
And it's great. It's great to have the attention. Like, obviously, I had that in the back of my head, but like you said, with like the legacy aspect of it, I thought like that was a perfect way because obviously COVID, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for people to kind of shine light, and it was tough because the funeral was on Zoom, all that stuff. Like that was when COVID was at it's like peak. So it was tough to do stuff for him, and then a few years went by, everything kind of like was normal. So that's when I had the idea, and then just shining light on someone, like you said, so impactful and being able to have his legacy live on forever. And for the family to like re-invite me back when they like just did their the jersey unveiling of his from like high school and from Bryant. I think that speaks volumes.
And did you host that ceremony? You hosted that ceremony, didn't you?
Yeah, I hosted that, and I hosted obviously the documentary. But for them to want me to come back and like just speak on his name, it's honestly just a blessing too. Like that's all I can really say about it. It leaves me speechless. So.
And I think it underscores, like just the work is like you're telling stories, right? So like now you've been able to tell that story, and now even his family thinks of you as like, all right, well, Cam did such a great job of telling his story. We want him to always have his fingerprints on this. And I think what bigger thanks can you get from that family than trusting you to be like, no, this is the person we want to tell his story. This is the person we want to be visible when people see him. Like there's not enough that can be said about that.
Yeah, man, that's pretty dope, man. So like when you're doing that stuff, like what are you taking from that? Like, did you think like the outcome of that was gonna happen when you first started doing it? Or you was doing like I just want to do this. It's pretty dope, and whatever came from it, you're like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't think this was gonna come from what I did.
Everything that I've done, not even just like this, but like broadcasting, like there's always a vision in my head, like how I think it's gonna go or how I want it to be. And then it ultimately always ends up happening that way just because of the work that I put into it. So in the early stages of me doing it, I was like, oh, this is going to get like, I mean, it wasn't like my main intention. Like I obviously wanted like the town and everybody to come together and really remember who Dan was. And that happened, which was great. But I was like, oh, it's going to be great recognition. And all these people are going to be involved and they're going to love it, blah, blah, blah. And like it kind of just panned out on how I like imagined it. And when I go on like a broadcast or if I speak to like students at a school or whatever, and I'm like, oh, it's going to go this way, it's going to go that way. And it always ends up panning out that way because like I know what I'm capable of. And I don't say like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. I say it will be that. So if I say speak it into existence, like it's going to happen. So that's kind of like my mindset on everything that I do. And that's like the process going into like literally everything that I do for sports media.
Yeah, man, I love it. Like you've been on it's like a couple times now. I feel like we're getting like chapters in your life.
Yeah, I think it's dope. I love that.
It is pretty dope, and you're saying like you speak into existence. So you spoke the WPRI internship, follow that into existence as well.
Yeah, I mean that was obviously I wanted to get something for broadcasting, but I mean that helped. I mean like my main goal is to be like an NBA broadcaster, but to have that on the resume to show like my versatility. I think that was key because I had a broadcasting job with the sports hub the previous summer. So I was like, oh, maybe I should do some sideline stuff, and which ultimately got me the sideline job for the football team this year at URI. And like I was supposed to intern at ABC6 with Nick Hoyt and Ian Steele. They do a great amount of work, and Nick's actually a professor at URI, so he's all over the map. And Ian's always putting in the work. But I contacted Nick. This was like a week before, probably like a month before my birthday. And he's like, oh, you're one of like the finalists. We're going to get you in. We're going to do this, that. Then on my birthday, he sends me a text and he's like, it's set in stone. You're going to be our intern. And I just got to get a few more things off the ground. I'll let you know like as soon as possible. This is on my 21st birthday. I'm like, oh, this is sick. This is awesome. And then I think a week after he called me and he's like, oh, like it's not in our budget or this, that, and other things that, happened. And I was like, it's okay. Like it's just, and this was in the process of me still editing the documentary. So I'm like, I got something bigger that's going to happen. And I got all these other things. So we're just going to keep grinding and keep seeing like other opportunities. And then I'm not even kidding. Like a day after, the former director at 12, Maury Hirschgordon, who's at Channel 7 in Boston, he called me and was like, Nick put in the good word. We want you to come in East Providence in the summer. And I was like, that's fate. You just got to, not get discouraged and just continue to keep doing what you're doing. And that consistency and that persistence and all the meticulous things that you do is going to come out to a greater outcome. So I never get discouraged. I don't second guess myself. I just kind of do it and hope for the best. And a lot of people that I've had on the podcast, a lot of people I've talked to, they say preach that to like the students that you talk to, continue to do that and, make that more world renowned on your podcast with the mindset that you got. So.
Yeah, man, I love to see that, man. So when you're doing that, did you have like a welcome to WPRI moment? I know you had one for the previous year. Yeah. Did you have like not welcome, more like a dope moment or something like really cool that stands out?
Yeah, I tell people this story all the time. I got kind of like two short ones. And I love asking like athletes and coaches this question too when they come on the podcast. But for me, in this instance, the first one, so my friend Ed Lee, who was he had a mini camp offer with the Patriots, was on their training camp roster and all this stuff, and we were getting ready. He ended up getting cut in the offseason. He was gearing up for his first preseason game, but a week before, unfortunately, he got cut. But he played at URI for, I think, 6 years, and he was a huge standout there his last couple of years there, and, super happy for him that with the offers that he got. But he was with the Patriots in the summer when I was there with 12, so I chopped it up with him, and I was like, yo, you should come, because I had him on the podcast the year before at school, and he's like, oh, you should come on and share what it's like to be an NFL player, and he's like, oh, let's do it. But I don't know when it can be out, but we'll do it just to have it. So I was like, all right, word. So he came to my house and we did the podcast. It didn't end up dropping because of him being cut. I posted some clips, so that was cool. But he introduced me to Mac Jones and brought me on the practice field. Like we get that access during practice for like a little bit, but after practice, we had him for media availability. And he was walking back, and then I was like, oh, it's good to see you, Ed. And he was like, oh, shit, my boy, like, what's up? So then we started talking. And then Mac walked over, Ramondre walked over, all these guys were walking, and he introduced me to all these guys, and they were talking about my podcast, and it was cool for them to like say my name and know kind of a little bit who I was just from Ed. And another instance after that, like a quick one, was when Ramondre after practice. This was like one of the first or like last ones before the preseason game, the first preseason game they played against the Texans, and they're all signing autographs. All the fans are there. It's packed. And Ramondre's like right in front of me signing some lady's arm. And I posted it on Instagram, one of the clips, and he's signing it. And I asked him after, I was like, was that your first autograph tattoo? He's like, yeah, man, that was my first one. Hopefully I can get some more. And then like that was pretty cool to just talk to him too. But that was probably, I always remember that at the end of the day. But
oh man, that's pretty dope, man. So, after you're doing that, after internship ended up, obviously finishing, do you have any, like what's the next step after that? Do you have any, you said you speak stuff into existence. So what are you speaking into existence next?
Being an NBA broadcaster, man. I've been preaching that since day one.
Young Mike Breen.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. It might take a year, 5 years, 10 years, but it's gonna happen. And I think being in that NBA setting in the summer, like with the Celtics, like when they signed Porzingis, like I was at that press conference when JB cool. signed that the biggest contract.
That recap video you put together was awesome.
Yeah,
that was cool.
It was insane. Like I was like, this is so crazy to be able to witness this, and I was like, it can happen because I'm here right now. I mean, I'm not getting paid yet, but it's just stepping stones. So, I mean, my plan after college, I'm just gonna keep continuing to reach out to the connections I've made and see where it goes from there.
Nice, man. Do you want to get to that story? You told us off. You don't want to get into it.
What story?
Jazz.
Oh yeah, I can talk about that too. So before this year, so this was I think June when I applied. One day I was just kind of looking at like jobs, like what jobs are going to be open, and I'm like, might as well like take a look at it. So I looked up NBA broadcasting opportunities, and the Jazz was the first one that popped up, and I'm like, what are the odds that Justin Mazzulla just got a job there? And that information wasn't out at the time, but he told me personally, I'm like, this is sick. And then that's the first opportunity that comes up, and I'm like, I can't not apply for this. It was right in my wheelhouse. It's all with the podcast stuff, the radio stuff, one of the last things it said was it's a good way to get your foot in the door for being a broadcaster and, with the connections and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of checked off all the boxes for what I want to do. And I reached out. I was like, I don't want to let just sit, like the application. I wanted to reach out to people involved, people that are broadcasters and involved in the media. So I went on LinkedIn and contacted probably like, I don't know, 10 to 15 people. And I got like 6 or 7 responses, and they're like, oh, this resume is great. Like, you'll definitely be a finalist. You'll definitely hear back. And I'm like, oh, awesome. A month goes by, and I'm like, I didn't hear from anybody. So I contacted like the head of the executive producer for like the broadcasting team, and he got back to me and was like, we're going to start doing interviews on August 31st. So we'll let you know that week if you're a finalist. And if not, obviously, you won't have an interview. But they let me know. And I ended up having an interview with the Utah Jazz for like a radio broadcasting position, and all that other stuff, like the podcast and producing that. And it was kind of cool because it was all kind of like full circle. I'm like, I'm already doing this before I graduate. It's one of my dream jobs to kind of, get, like I said, get my foot in the door. Obviously I didn't end up getting it ultimately, but it was still cool to be like a finalist for that process. And it just kind of like opened my eyes to like what's to come. And after graduating, getting that diploma and, showcasing all this experience, I feel like that will get me a job ultimately, but, only time will tell. So just being patient and consistent is what I've been trying to do these past few weeks now that school started. So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's super big.
You've been to sale.
Yeah, just in general, just being able to experience that process is super dope because it's right in the field that you want to be in. So I think that's super dope, even though you didn't get it ultimately, but like it's just kind of like more motivation to do what you want to do to get to that goal, to get to that end point. So congrats to you, bro.
Appreciate that. And like just putting on, like Flanny said, just putting on for the state of Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. Like now, like congratulations on that new gig with PC being the MC for the Friars. Like that's sick,
that's super big.
And Hope, like Harry's like super great connection that I've been able to have. And we covered David Duke's foundation, like the charity event he had, and he was the MC for that. And obviously we talked on the podcast before and stuff, but he's just such a great, genuine guy, and I get those same exact vibes from you. So I'm just excited to see what you bring to the AMP this year as well. So just putting on for Rhode Island, I love that.
You want to get into this? Want to introduce that topic? You introduced it, but you got any follow up with the PC right here?
Oh, wait, I introduced it?
Oh, well, Cam technically did. Do you have any comments on it before we get into it?
Well, I want Flanny to get his flowers first, then have, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you want to introduce it.
No, but what Cam said, he's the new face of the Providence College Friars, baby. So, how did that even come about? We just... I seen that. At first, I didn't know anything about it. I saw it on Instagram. I was like, oh, shit, that's fire. Because I know, Hope used to do it beforehand. So, was he instrumental helping you out, guiding you through it? Like, how did those stats come into it?
Yeah, no. Shout out to Harry. That's my guy. I've been lucky enough to know Harry for a long time, pretty much since college. He's a URI grad, also a Pawtucket guy. I don't think a lot of folks realize he's a Saints guy. So I've known Harry, John Hope, the man of many names, many talents, for a while now. And ironically enough, it was so I think last time I might have been last time I was on here talking a little bit about the soccer stuff, the RIFC stuff, and kind of how that came to fruition and doing the voiceovers for them and stuff. So again, as Cam mentioned, making connections and having things come together. So Harry had obviously decided at the end of last year he was kind of done with the MC job. He had done it for 16 years, literally changed the entire culture of what it is to attend a game, a PC men's game at the, whether it was the Dunk, Civic Center, now the AMP, completely different environment. I remember going there as a kid and, it was a very specific aesthetic. Yeah. And then now you go, like I was in there last week and you walk in and the first song you hear is Gunna. Yeah. And it's like, it's just, they've completely flipped it. Him and DJ Finesse, to their credit, have come in and completely flipped what that looked like. So I knew Harry was in that role. I thought it was so dope. This was back in May. So back in May, a tweet goes out. They shared, we're looking for our new MC. So this gentleman that I met through the soccer stuff, Mike Rea, who is, a local, who has his own consulting firm. He was helping the soccer team. He was working with me as I was working with them, and we just kind of hit it off and really made good connections. Told him that, even though I work in education, sports is a passion of mine, and I always wanted it to be my career and what I did. So he actually was the first one to send me the tweet. He goes, this is literally for you. Mm-hmm. You need to do this. I'm like, all right, well, if he's telling me that must mean something. So, of course, the first person I thought of was Harry. So I'm like, let me reach out to Harry. I know he'll be honest with me, keep it real, keep it, tell me what I need to know, tell me what's real. So I reached out. He goes, you're perfect for that. He goes, if you want to do that, I'll support you. Anything you need, he's like, I'll sit with you and go over scripts. I'll pick your brain. I'll tell you, hey, this is what they said, but this is what they really mean. All those things that typically you don't get that in. So So once I kind of got that confirmation from Harry and then the thing, I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let me do it. So it was literally like put together I had to like read a script, put together a reel, send it to them. They asked me to send them some material. I sent them some clips from the podcast
Nice.
and some stuff that
Love
we had
it.
done just so they could hear me speak and get a kind of sense of who I was. And like I said, the process was pretty long and drawn out. It started in May. It didn't culminate until literally a couple weeks ago when they had Late Night Madness. So long story short, they bring me in for an interview. I get to talk with them and that's where I think I really was able to shine. It was literally me and like 10 people on the other side of the table for me. And like, I love moments like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm always looking across the table like, all right, I'm going to have you in the palm of my hand. I'm going to have you in the palm of my hand. I could tell you're a little curious, so I'm going to make sure you get all the answers you need. And I just enjoy stuff like that. Like Cam said, I like public speaking. I like being around folks. I feel confident in what I know. So that went really well. They brought us in for kind of like an audition at a volleyball game just to hear us in front of a live crowd. And that was great, but that was, it was a few hundred folks.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of hard for them to really know. It was myself and a few other folks who were there. So they knew they wanted to bring someone in for men's basketball. That was the role. But, they were like, hey, we might have some other, hockey or women's basketball. I'm like, hey, I'm down for anything. I'm like, I just love sports. I said, I can talk about hockey the same way I can talk about women's basketball, the same way I can talk about men's basketball, etc. But obviously the men's basketball, that's the gig. That's the one you want. That's the amp. That's 14,000 people. That's the big deal. So that's what I was always shooting for. So, I did my work. They gave me the opportunity at Late Night Madness they're like, hey, this is your dress rehearsal. Mm-hmm. If you can succeed in this setting with 8,000 people being thrown into the fire, then we know we got someone good. So just them giving me that opportunity, I'm like, well, they're not going to throw me in there if they don't think I can do this, right? Because if this goes bad, that's going to look bad on everybody, not just me. So I took, and it was funny. I remember the day, it was, the 30th of September, it was recently. And, the whole day I was nervous, right? Naturally, I'm nervous, and I always pride myself, and nerves are good. It means you care. Yeah. It means you're invested. It means that it means something to you. So don't shy away from the nerves. Like, just feed into them, right? So I do that. I'm nervous. The moment I walk into the amp and see the crowd, see the lights, hear the DJ, all the nerves went away.
That was it.
Because I was home. This was the moment I was waiting for. To Cam's point, I was confident. I had done my research. I knew my script. I had my cue cards. I knew everything front to back. I had been practicing. I had put the work in. So now it was just get to enjoy it, right? And I had never been in front of a crowd that big. I've been in front of some big crowds, but never one that big. And like literally lights came on, nerves completely went away, and it just felt like second nature. And I think for me, it's one of those things, right? Everybody has levels of like an imposter syndrome. Oh, like, damn, can I really do this until I do it? And it was like, that was my confirmation. Like, no, I'm meant to do this. This is what I should be doing. This is what I enjoy. This is what brings the best out of me. The night went extremely well. It was funny. They even they turned to me at halfway through the program. And the woman who's been helping me and supporting me
thumbs up.
was sitting right next to the athletic director. And she was like, yo, the AD loves you. Job's yours. Like, you got it. So that was awesome. It gave me the confidence to know, like, oh, this is great. I got a chance to do, they had their annual Mal Brown inter-squad scrimmage last week. I was able to kind of cover that and do my dress rehearsal. But it's been cool. And I got to say, like, the outpouring of love has been amazing. Like, so many people have come up to me and be like, yo, of course you're doing that. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
It's fitting.
And like, thankfully I have a really good support system of people who tell me that. But even like the folks who you're not used to, who've never seen you in that setting or who've never told you that, like, oh yeah, like you're meant to do that. It's nice, positive. It gives you that reinforcement. Like, okay, someone's not just telling me this because they support me as the individual. They know I can actually do this. So it's been awesome. The outpouring of love has been amazing. I'm super excited. I can't jump into it. My buddy Brendan from the Times did a really cool story last week on myself and also my man Kev, who was in TV. He actually was in Minnesota. He just came back and took a job at Channel 12 as a sports reporter. So I'm super happy for him, excited for him. I'm super excited for you, Cam, to hopefully be able to do some work with him and do some cool things. I've already kind of talked to him about you. I told him he's coming on this podcast soon.
Do what up, baby.
It was a really cool story. That was nice because, like you said, like pretty much 99% of what I do is for my people, right? It's for my city, it's for my state, is to really just showcase what we can do further than just me. So then if that can open the door for somebody else, then hey, that's awesome. So it was cool to be able to have that recognition. I've been lucky enough in the past because of sports or coaching to be in the paper, but it never goes unappreciated. It was cool. I didn't even realize for the story, Brendan had reached out to my old high school coach and got some quotes from him, and those quotes were dope. It was him talking about just me as an individual, and That was really, really cool because, again, it's just those kind of moments that make you realize, like, no, I'm supposed to be doing this. This is for me. I was supposed to be in this spot, no, but not in somebody else. So that was dope. I'm excited. It's going to be a hell of a season. You got a new coach in Kim English, who I remember watching in college. Like, I remember him. He was at Missouri. He was a walking bucket. So I'm excited. It's a whole new regime. The home slate this year is wild. They got URI coming into the AMP, which is always a good one. St. John's, Rick Pitino's first time back in Providence, maybe since he coached there. Georgetown. Cooley's coming in.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Villanova and Connecticut the last 2 weekends of the season. Like, the home slate's really, really dope. I think PC is gonna be a really good team this year. I don't know if they're gonna be quite as good as last year, but I think they're still gonna be really good. So I'm just excited, man. I've already had so many folks just reaching out like, yo, I haven't been to a game. I usually don't go to a game, but I'm gonna go so I can see you. And that means a lot. Like, that's people's hard-earned money or time to be able to do that. So that never goes unappreciated. It's never not just a very like. It's not a weird moment, but it's just very surreal, you know, to have those moments happen. And like you said, Kim, it's like the proof is in the pudding and it shows up. And now it's like, I put the work in. So I should be here. Now what's next? How do we take that? And I think that was the big thing for me. It's like, yo, Harry's the voice of the Friars. That's never going to change. I don't want to replicate that.
Nope.
I want to be the face of the Friars. Now I want to make my own mark, have my own thing, and have something I can stand alone on. And then whenever I pass the torch, however far away, someone can then build on what I was able to build upon from Harry and Finesse. So super excited, super dope, came together very organic, and I think that is, you know, probably the best way something can happen.
Man, I love to see that, man.
That's super dope. Super dope.
I'm excited. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, man. Are we 3 of like 100 people now asking you for courtside tickets?
I can only imagine.
Everybody's been asking, and like I would love to, like, but I don't have any. It's like, you know, it's funny because like I don't work for the AMP. I work for PC, so it's kind of 2 separate entities. So I've been, you know, trying to work behind the scenes to see what I can do. And whether it's like a discounted price or something. Like,
don't ask.
I would love to. If it was up to me, I would have everybody there because it would be awesome. Like, you know, it's nice. Like, you know, shout out to my man Mike Neal. He was at the scrimmage last week, so it was cool to look up in the crowd and see a familiar face. So like that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that this year, being able to just see folks and also just build. Like it's cool just to be there and just talk to people and have conversations on the court. And everybody's been so gracious and welcoming to me. You know, like I left after Late Night Madness and I'm walking to the car and like, you know, all these older families who've probably been PC fans for generations are like, hey, you're the new Harry, and want to shake my hand and ask my name and tell me who they are. Like whole families introducing themselves to me, and I'm like, this is cool because it's, you know, now like, you know, I'm a part of that family, and now it's, you know, I think of being able to be in the same space as a Frank Carpano, who was an absolute legend around here. Now I can pick his brain on game nights and get to talk to him, and like that is stuff that it's hard to replicate, and like you got to work to get in those spaces.
Yeah, Frank's the man. He's helped me out a lot too. I'm kind of working for them right now at Channel 10 with football, so he'll hit me up and say like, oh, if you're at this home game, can you send me these highlights? So I'm not physically on the news, but those highlights you see of URI football are me. And to have a connection like Frank is
he got
huge.
An institution. Yeah. Like and not even just in Rhode Island. It's just like nationally. Like he's respected everywhere. So, and I think back, like you had mentioned, I actually interned at ABC6 in college, and that was when Ken Bell was there. He was the sports director.
Yeah,
another one, an absolute legend. So like it's nice to know, like if I ever, like to this day, if I need something, I can give Ken a text or a call, and like he'll still show up.
That's
you
cool.
know, like that's cool.
Yeah, that's fire, man. Like we were saying earlier, I'm having chapters of Cam's career on the pod, also chapters of Flanny's career on the pod.
100%.
He started off on the EG Pot of Thunder, baby. Him and Brett, I broke him into the business.
Those were the reels that went to PC, so they could see me talking sports and
went
just
went to PC first. That was EG Pod, and then it was a soccer. And now it's PC. What's next? It could be the Eagles.
ESPN.
Maybe.
Me and Cam we're gonna be at the desk like Scott Van Pelt and Stuart Scott.
Hell yeah! When Flanny's doing NBA or NFL PA, I'll be on the sideline doing broadcasts.
Oh, I love it. Then I'll have you guys in the podcast in the meantime, baby.
Started
up. Maybe we'll get tickets by then.
Yeah, right, hopefully. No, that's super exciting. Like, obviously, being one of your friends, like it's super dope to see those type of things, and like just knowing you for as long as I've known you. Not all we've talked about, but one of the things that's like unanimous is sports. We always talk sports, no matter if we're just chilling, you know, drinking and going. We've always talked about sports, and there's always something you've been super thorough and super like knowledgeable in. So to see you in that, to be able to like be the voice for PC is super dope. Like super like I don't know. I can't explain the excitement. Like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? It's super surreal, and it's not even me. Like, seeing one of your close friends be able to do something that you know they're going to succeed in is super dope. So I just want to say congratulations to both of you on all those things. So
yeah, I think that's the part. And I think, to Cam's point, he talked about, the Mazzulla family. It's like, obviously we do what we do because we love it, but also it's nice for your friends are going to support you, but it's nice like where your friend can be genuinely proud of you and be able to go and be like, yeah, I know him. That's my friend who does that. Like, that's awesome. It's a great feeling. It means, one, that people care about you and your well-being, but also people support what you're doing, and not just blindly, not just because like, yo, you're my boy, you can do that. It's like, no, you actually can do that. Or if you couldn't, we're close enough to tell you, or me give you pointers or different things. It's like, you got to have that support. But yeah, it's so awesome to know there's an extension of you and people in terms of saying good things about you, or sharing your work, or helping you to network and putting you in spaces because of the connections you made.
Yeah, man, it's far, man. I love to see that. Like, and I did not know that. That's so dope that you show like clips of the podcast, and like having Cam on. I show people Cam stuff all the time. Even before Elray met you, I would send them your stuff. And had a guy on yesterday, my boy Chris, and I'm like, oh yeah, having a guy tomorrow. He's ESPN's. He's a URI's guy. He's been on ESPN. He's like, oh, that's fire. Send me some clips. I sent him some clips, and I generally, that was part of the original parts of the podcast where I wanted to do like the original vision is if someone can blow up from here, get an NIL deal or something like that, get a PC gig, hopefully end up, like you said, Jazz NBA gig at some point, and have you on originally.
All our UMass guys need NIL deals.
Hey, so how about
tearing it up.
How about Denson? Somebody like Denson just committed to Michigan State. Like, that's huge. I loved picking young people's brains, and I mean, obviously I grew up with Angel and Dante, but someone like him, who I don't really know him because he's obviously not in my age group. But to see those kind of big commits, like, it puts Rhode Island on.
Yeah, another one. Sean Montgomery. I know he's in Florida now, but he's a CF kid. Yeah. Like, his dad's a CF legend. Like, now he's down in Florida, and he's gonna choose between Florida State, Miami, Georgia, LSU. Like, that's a big deal. Yeah. Like, even the other day there was a transfer from Rhode Island who plays at Oregon now. Who they were talking about.
AJ Cornelius.
They were talking about before the Washington and Oregon matchup, saying like, he's now come in, he's made an impact on that side of their line. Like, you're starting to see it, and I think of you good, you hot? No, I gotta go to the bathroom.
You gotta continue this. Continue. I never do this. I have to go. So,
grab a Truly on your way back.
So we're the new hosts of EG Pot of Thunder.
We got the E is gone.
Yeah, I'm not the young light skinned Keith Sweat, but
you're the young light skinned John B. John B. That's what we'll go with. But no, it's cool. I think, and I want to give a shout out to my man Stan Dunbar, who with what they've done, with the 7-on-7, and again another Pawtucket, Pawtucket
shout
roots
out the Saints
there,
again.
What they've done in the 7-on-7 scene, and I always mention it. My guys at RI Elite, what they did on the basketball side, and now Stan's doing it on the football side. They're giving kids exposure that we've never. I think of so many folks that I played with or played against that just never had exposure.
Yeah, because that age group, I feel like you're a little bit older than me, but that time it was different. Like, people didn't have that same exposure.
There was no exposure. There was
Zero.
nothing. Like, Rhode Island, the best opportunity you had was like the Rhode Island Connecticut All-Star game.
Yeah,
like, there was nothing. There was no exposure, no opportunities. Obviously, no year-round 7-on-7 options. So I think of so many talented guys who their time passed them by because they didn't have opportunities. That now these kids are getting exposure. They're traveling around the country. They're going to get looks, and it might be something as simple as a Division III, where they're just going to go and play and not have to pay for school.
Because
like at that's good
huge
enough. Like, just that alone is good enough, and comparative to what kids around here usually get or have gotten in the past.
When I was in like high school, like, there wasn't as many people making a name for themselves in Rhode Island, but they're still doing their thing. There were still some people that were obviously getting big, but someone like Tyler Kolak, who I played against my entire high school career. He's
Big East Player of the Year.
Debatably one of the greatest point guards in college basketball right now. It's cool to see what he's doing, and like players of that caliber. Someone like Sebastian Thomas, who I was able to cover at URI. I grew up with him, and now he's at UAlbany. Just playing Division I sports and putting on for Rhode Island. There's just so many more, and there's so many more. Like, with the outlets now too on social media, I feel like it's been more evident to see Rhode Island guys. Like, it's like someone like Alex Clemmy. He's from Middletown. He just got drafted in the MLB.
Yeah.
We were there at his
house.
Was
that he's first round?
Second round. 58th pick in Guardians. I just talked to him on the pod. I'm going to have that out next week. And he's just, he's well-spoken. He's only 18 years old, and he's coming into the MLB as an 18-year-old. And substantially, like, I think what the deal was, but it was like, I think $2-3 million.
Oh yeah. Life-changing money for anybody, especially someone from around here, where again the opportunities aren't there. just the ability to be in those spaces, it very rarely happens.
Yeah. Keith Sweat has returned.
Keith has returned, baby. I never do that. Sorry, guys. It was held for like 30 minutes. No, it's nuts, man. Like, URI's blowing up. I mean, Ronaldo's blowing up. There's a kid right now who just committed to the All-American game from Mount Pleasant. I'm not sure if you guys seen that.
That's who you were just mentioning, right, Cam?
What just previously? No, I was talking about the kid. He's from Middletown.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know who you're talking about. He's a cornerback from Mount Pleasant. Yeah, he had. Where did he commit to? Because you had said Michigan State. I could have sworn Michigan State was
Denson.
his.
That was Justin Denson. There's another kid. He's from Mount Pleasant.
Justin Denson. He's a cornerback. The cornerback from the South. That's the one I was thinking of.
There's
Sorry.
a receiver from Mount Pleasant who committed to All-American game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a beast. He also played for Nadim. And he's blanking his name right now, but he's a beast though. And a whole bunch of talent, man. Even Harlan Perry from LaSalle's Animal. And it's definitely
his dad was a beast.
Yeah.
His dad was a beast back in the day.
And man, so like when you're seeing this, man, like I said, you're doing this, Flanny's doing that for put on for Rhode Island. I love seeing anybody from Rhode Island get an opportunity, and there's so much talent, and hopefully like it continues to grow because. And back in the day, there could have been so much more talent that could have went to the league, but for some reason why we were slept on.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying when we stepped away, is that there was no outlets, there was no resources, there wasn't the exposure.
I mean, you're putting on for them too, like doing the sideline stuff.
Yeah,
like
hell yeah. Even just having them on here, right? Because you said it's like now it's a brand, especially in the NIL days. If you're not a brand, you're literally going to miss out. Like you have to be able to market yourself and do something cool.
Yeah. Me and Stanley are doing more stuff together in this upcoming breakthrough season for winter. So I'm gonna do a lot more sideline stuff, and I came up with Stanley, and actually also with Renz, we're doing I'm doing like a pretty much like an academic scholarship for them for breakthrough and for game day. So there's qualifications for it. It's on the podcast page, but Stanley wanted to do that too, and he just actually did that. He announced it like last week on his breakthrough page that you have to have a specific GPA now.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
So we're doing that. And me and Stan talked about it. It's good to get them sideline ready and camera ready.
Yeah.
So it's good. I love doing that. I had a bunch of kids on podcasts over the summer, and even with your friends, they're obviously little kids, but even getting them ready behind the camera.
That's where it starts.
And it's never too early to get ready behind the camera. And there's young kids getting deals, so you never know what might blow up. Might put them on the map.
The next baby Gronk.
My baby Gronk, who never knows. So I like doing that, and it's definitely been more like my forte. I don't want to do that, but I mean, I don't want to be this one thing, but definitely football is my thing for sure.
Yeah.
But that's important. Like him saying, they don't have folks who will come out and do that, right? Or if they do, they probably have to go initiate it and pay somebody and go through these hoops, and they don't have that touch, or they're not, you actually know where the communities are, where these kids come from, so it gives that extra layer, and they probably just feel more comfortable with you as opposed to this random person who's sticking a microphone in their face.
You both benefit from it. You're benefiting from it. They're benefiting from it, and like you said, it all goes around, and it's not like you're doing this for somebody else. One, you're doing it for you, for your brand and your platform, but also put these kids on, like you said, teach them media skills on the sidelines.
Yeah, no, for sure. I had one kid from I won't say his name just to save his face, but we did an silent interview, and he was so nervous. He started. It was not good. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, bro, let's relax. He started swearing. He said a couple inappropriate words, and I'm like, you may not want to say that. I was like,
but that's important too, because again, him hearing that from you in a something that's a lot lower stakes, now he avoids that in another possible situation. You have the kids who might be a little older. They're going to go on these recruiting visits. They're going to be in front of coaches or in front of these people, and they might not know what to say, or they might not know what the difference is in this setting compared to that setting. Yeah, it can't happen at an early age. And as me, and this is, I guess, now my education hat going back on, I'm a comm major, and I feel like being a comm studies major is something that should be like a prereq for everybody. You should have to take communications courses in school the same way you should take financial literacy, the same way you should take science or math. That's a skill. You have to know how to communicate. It doesn't matter what your job is.
I think that should start in high school,
middle school. You have to be able to communicate effectively, verbally, non-verbally. You got to know how to pick up cues. You got to know how to read a room. And obviously it translates so much more into sports and athletics because you're in those situations more.
Yeah, and I think testament to what you said as well is where Stanley. I talked about it with Stanley.
He's so good at that. He's so good at that.
100%. And we talked about how he's bro, like even when I came out with you, I feel comfortable with you because I know you know where I'm coming from. And he knows I'm not gonna set him up. So like even if these kids mess up,
gotcha moments.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like I'm posting that even if he blows up. Like Stanley knows I'm not gonna do that to those kids. They know I'm from like the inner city too, so I think they feel comfortable with me behind the mic. Like they're definitely being themselves, opposed to like maybe someone else doing who knows. Like there's a random guy there on the sideline, you know. So I think that helps out as well for sure. And have you guys? Oh, you said we kind of dealt with it already. Have you dealt with like anybody like knowing you like in person? Like it's kind of cool. When I went to a game day, a bunch of like young kids, and I came up like wearing the hat and the glasses. And everyone knew who I was. They're like, "Oh my god, that's that kid from TikTok." Literally, that's what I heard mad times. I'm like, "Damn, I post more on Instagram." What the fuck?
I heard it. Me too.
You know they're on TikTok.
Yeah. So like, have you dealt with those moments where you're like, "Oh, that's Cam" or something like that, or like?
Yeah, I've had a few. Nothing like on like a crazy like scale, like a someone like professional or something like that. But definitely with URI football like this year. I mean, I was a sideline reporter last year, but it was kind of like more like. Kind of like student newspaper type stuff, so it wasn't as professional as I do now. So my role on the team is I'm a digital correspondent, so I'll do like a 2-minute package after the game with the highlights, stand-ups, and all that stuff, and post-game sound from the coach, players that play well. And I don't only post that. I've been doing a lot of like roadie football like content. So I did a video recently in the weight room. They ran me through like a weight room training session. I'm trying to get Kasim Hill, who's the quarterback. I'm trying to get something like that on the field with him. But I've done stuff like that last year, so they've known me from that. But 2 of the videos that I posted recently kind of like blew up, and Barstool Roadie hit me up.
I was gonna
they hit me up, and shout out my boy Nando. He's been running the accounts. He's great with like the algorithms and how to like get fan engagement to come in and stuff like that. So he's like, anytime you do something like that with football, hit me up. We'll collab on it and get you recognition. So my last game, actually, I was just walking down, like, because I have like the media pass. I'm in the locker rooms and I'm walking around, and they're like, I walked by and like no one like said anything. Like I'm boys with a few of the guys, like close friends, but I didn't see them at that point. So I'm walking by, and as I passed a few, like I think there's the offensive linemen and people from the offense, but like they were like, "Yo, that's Cam's corner. Oh, that's Cam's corner." And I'm like, I kept walking. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's cool. That's a cool ass feeling.
Other than that, I'm trying to think. In Johnston, I always get recognized in Johnston if I'm at a store or something. That's really cool to be recognized in my hometown. Like, and then people talking to me about Danny and all that. So
that's really
other than that, that's probably what I would say for that. I'm sure you do now too, like you said after games.
Yeah, I definitely had like for instance, like when the Times came out on Thursday, like I knew Brendan. He reached out to me for a couple quotes, but I didn't know it was going to be a story. I certainly didn't know it was going to be front page of the sports. I didn't know it was going to be what it was. I thought it was just going to be like a couple notes on the website. So that was cool because I didn't even know the paper was out. I had saw the link to the story, and then I had a couple family members like, "Hey, you're in the paper today," or after the fact, folks sending it to me. And that's cool. Yeah, like that's been, I think, the dopest thing from this is just the amount of outreach and people who've reached out who I know aren't sports fans or PC fans, but it's just to see, and it's just like, oh wow, like that's really, really cool. And like I said, at the PC game, just from Late Night Madness to the scrimmage, those folks who saw me at the first one, like, "Oh Josh, hey, it's good to see you again," like having those connections. And yeah, it's very, very humbling. It's one of those things where you kind of got to get used to it. It's like you said at first, it's like it's easy to just kind of keep your head down, and then to yourself internally you're smiling big and having all these feelings, but like it's extremely humbling, and also it's good. It's affirmation, right? It's like, oh wow, I must be doing a good job if these people who owe me absolutely nothing are complimenting me or have good things to say, because they don't have to.
I need to get that paper and have you sign it, Flanny.
Gotcha. Put it up next to the Tony Montana.
Right there, baby. Next to Iverson, actually, maybe in the sports room. But I went to my boy Chris. He had a Bitcoin thing. He's been on the podcast a bunch of times. I went to go support him and Max. And some other guy was there. He's talking, blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Oh, this is my friend Effie. He has a podcast." Some other dude out of nowhere was like, "You're that podcast guy?" And I'm like, "I guess." Like, that's pretty cool. I did not expect to hear that. So that's pretty dope. But, that's pretty dope, man. I love to hear the success for you and Flanny. Oh, you and Flanny. And, so get Elray back in this conversation. I've been holding this in for the sports podcast and off the NFL one. Do you still stand by you saying you would take Dak over Tua?
Do I still stand by that? We're talking based on
you and my guy Ross. He's also a Cowboys fan. Asked him the same thing. He said Dak over Tua, not even a question.
This was last year.
This is before the season started.
when Tua was actively concussed.
No. This was like during off season.
They do talk about Dak like he's the next Tom Brady on ESPN. He
still-
is on every single
day.
episode.
It's because it's the Cowboys.
It
Yeah,
is,
and that's the thing.
It is. Every day it's the same. Like even my fiance knows nothing else about sports.
But knows Dak
Typically in
Prescott.
the morning, like the time I happen to be getting ready is when Get Up is on.
Yeah.
So like I'll have Get Up in the background. Every day she's like, they're talking about Dak again. And I'm like, yeah. She
Every
couldn't
day.
pick Dak out of a lineup, but
Yeah.
she's like, they're talking about him again. I'm like, yeah. It's like you have to.
Right now, oof, that's tough.
Tough?
For me,
Come on, bro.
tough for me.
How's that even a thought, bro?
Part of me loves Dak.
This is your Jerry Jones, bro. You're Jerry Jones.
No. But I said earlier in the podcast, like if we got, like, you know what I'm saying, like if there was someone better available, I wouldn't be against it.
If Tua was available,
if Tua, I don't.
he's
Tua,
not. But
Tua's having a year.
Tua's playing well.
He's playing well. I can't say career-wise he's better than Dak.
Do you think he's like an established quarterback, or is he kind of still up in the air?
I think Tua's an established quarterback, but I also think Dak's an established quarterback.
I would say Dak's an established quarterback.
I don't think Dak's a tier 1 quarterback. I think he's a tier 2, and I would probably put Tua as a tier 2 quarterback. I don't think he's like elite number 1 quarterback.
I think that's fair. I wouldn't argue that. And I think, like, if you're saying, hey, if I'm drafting a team tomorrow, am I taking Tua or Dak? You take Tua. Because,
of course.
The youth, whatever, what you still can see. Obviously, those concussions scare the shit out of me in terms of Tua. And he has those moments every now and then. Thankfully, this year he's cut down, and then when he throws the ball, you're like, yo, Tua, who the fuck were you throwing that? There's nobody over there. He has those moments, but he's still young. And I think, I was having this conversation the other day, I think about it more in basketball terms, but even in the NFL, we don't give guys enough time to become a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Like basketball, if you're not the rookie of the year, they're sending you
like,
to the Euro League. And it's just like, yo,
Football's a
slow
short
down.
window, too,
Yeah,
because of,
football
like,
is so short.
the
The average is like
longevity,
3 years is the average playing time. So it's like if you're not producing from day one, they want to get rid of you. And it's just like, how realistic is that?
Yeah.
Especially in the NFL quarterback. That's one of the hardest jobs in the world to be able to learn that. So I think like even Tua, he's still growing. He's still figuring out. He's still getting there. So
Dak's
yeah.
pushing year 10, so it's like
I know, and that's why it's like
that's why it's
and
like,
you have so much where I think people still are waiting to see Dak make that
and
jump.
that's the problem for me.
And it's just like, yo, I don't know that jump's coming.
Exactly, yeah. So
that
that's my
doesn't
issue
mean
with Dak.
he can't win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys because again, we've seen people do it with less. But he's not going to wake up tomorrow and be Patrick Mahomes.
No, exactly.
It's not going to happen.
I think a lot of people are waiting for that still, and I'm not waiting for that.
No,
like
I
don't.
And as a obviously never like the Cowboys, I was more of a Dak apologist early in his career because I'm like, yo, he's not that bad.
Yeah,
he's probably a little better than people give him credit for. Give him some weapons. He can do X, Y, and Z good, but also he's not going to turn into Patrick Mahomes.
No,
it's just not.
Oh, well, you can't. Dak or Tua?
I mean, I was like, I'm still kind of waiting, but I'm like 8 years, bro. How long can you wait? Like,
it's true though. No, I get it.
MVP leading Tua.
For me, like I said, not to cut you off, Cam.
No.
For me, like I said, if you get a full year of Tua like this, and I see it into next year, I would. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I like Tua, so it's not like. But I have this like because Dak's not a trash quarterback. He's a solid quarterback.
He's not.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, you know, if I could see the consistency in Tua, then I would be like, yeah, fuck it. Like,
and it's hard to find a good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, that too.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like,
so it's like,
you can't
yo,
get rid of him for nothing.
And that's the thing. It's like, yo, we have a good quarterback. Sure, everybody wants a great quarterback, but the alternative is not always a great quarterback. You can go from a good to an atrocious quarterback. So it's like on the hierarchy of things, and again, this is where the team comes in, the coaching, all these different things. It has to all be slotted into it. But like the odds of you having that top tier quarterback it's probably 3 or 4 teams. Other than that, you got to take what you have and maximize the most by putting what you can around them. I think Dak is more of that. Like you really got to insulate him with a lot of protection, a lot of support, and he can win. But that's not different than most average quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But just to clarify, when you guys say consistency with Tua, you're talking about his health because when Tua
plays,
he's
got to stay on the field.
He's always got to
be on the
field.
field.
When he plays, but like it's obviously when he. I'm a Dolphin. I say if Tua gets hurt, we're fucked.
And that's the thing. The best ability is availability.
Yeah.
If you can't be out there, it doesn't matter how good. Look at Zion.
Yeah, it's true.
Zion,
yeah.
But he doesn't play. I can't sit here and say he's better than John Morant, who's actually produced.
Yep.
It's just I get confused when people say consistency. It's like it's his performance is always there.
Staying on the field.
Just staying on the field.
The argument is more recency bias because like obviously Tua's playing great and he's not hurt, but it's like you know, Dak's had his fair share of injuries, but to say like, I don't know, like that's a tough. Like I was saying, like they're like the same tier quarterback. They're not. It's not like one is eye-poppingly better than the other one. It's like they're kind of like on the same spectrum. But I don't know. Like I think it's just recency bias to say like, oh, Tua by a landslide. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, because I think if they're both tier 2, that's fine. But the odds of next year, Dak's probably going to stay tier 2, where
and Tua has the potential to be
right?
one.
I think
exactly.
and that's the difference,
Yes.
where you have one guy still so young, still so early, still figuring out. Happens to also have this mastermind of a coach who seems to be pulling all the right strings for him. Not to mention the weapons he has around him.
Amazing.
Yeah, you're talking about the availability to go up to tier 1. Flanny, are you nervous? Hurts is dropping down.
Dropping from tier 1.
Would you consider Hurts tier 1 right now?
I guess how many are in tier 1, right?
I'd say there's Mahomes. I'd say Josh Allen, even though he hasn't done. So I seen a meme. It was like he plays to the competition of whoever he's playing against.
He does, because when he plays the Dolphins, he fucking goes
off.
off.
Yeah, and then the next week he'll play the Jets or whoever and have 16 turnovers.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
And also, his turnovers are, I think, similar to what we saw from Tua at points, or even with Dak points. It's like, yo, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah.
Some things you get, and like you have, I think of like a Brett Favre who had so many picks, but because he was this gunslinger, and half the time he could make it work, half the time he couldn't. And you got these other guys who are like, yo, what were you thinking?
Yep.
And for me, I think today, do I think Hurts is still tier 1?
I think he's right. I think he's right on the line.
And my thing is like, again, how many other quarterbacks out there would I rather have other than him? There's not many. Mahomes, sure. Burrow right now?
No, I'm taking Hurts.
Justin Herbert right now?
No, Hurts.
Lamar Jackson right now? Like that? Like who
Hurts.
is really?
Yeah, no. If you're going 3, I would go Mahomes.
Like if we're talking about what is October 2023, how many guys are playing better than him that I would take? Not many.
Yeah.
So like I still feel fine with him. I do think this year, folks underestimated the coaching change. I think for the team as a whole,
there was
when
a
you
lot
get a
of
new
movement.
offensive coordinator, when you get a new defensive coordinator, it doesn't matter if all the pieces are the same, because now the terminology changes, the cadence changes, how quickly we get out of the huddle, what the personnel looks like. There's so many other moving parts, just how they talk to one another. So I think he's definitely feeling that. He hasn't used his legs much.
Nope.
I don't know if that's his decision. I don't know if that's coaching saying, hey, we just paid you $1 billion. We need you to relax. But also that stops him from being who he is. Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of everything. We haven't looked great, but I'm not necessarily worried.
Yeah, you guys are fucking 5-1.
We're fine.
So it's like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's like you're 5-1.
But like I said, if you've watched their games though, you can see they're not like they haven't put it all together yet. So they're 5-1, which is crazy for a team that hasn't put it all together yet.
And that's the thing is, folks, like you're 5-1, you could be 3-3. Sure, we could also be 6-0.
Yep.
If we didn't turn the ball over 4 times and continuously give the Jets a chance to win, we're 6-0 going into this Miami game this week, feeling really good about things. Now, granted, the schedule gets really, really difficult the rest of the year. It's top 5 difficulty in schedule. But I'd rather be 5-1 going to that schedule than 3-3, because now you can feel better about things. You get guys healthy as the season goes on. I think we just need to run the damn ball. If we do that, you slow down games, you control it, you play to your strengths with your O-line. So I think Hurts is fine. I'm not worried about him long term. I'm even not even worried about him in this season. I just think he needs to get himself more acclimated, trust himself, what he did last year, and I think they'll be fine.
I think similar to like what Elle said too, just bouncing off of it, like they had to kind of piece together like a 5-1 record right now. The only team that I could think of off the top of my head that didn't have to really do that and kind of like show dominance beginning of the season was San Fran.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's no team right now that you can be like, wow, they're good. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders. It's all
Nobody.
Because
no
then
team
San
all
Fran
down,
goes into Cleveland
and loses.
Doesn't look
Mind
good.
you, Deshaun Watson, no Nick Chubb.
Yeah. So it's like, and it's funny because that game was so similar to that Eagles game. They go in, a team you should beat, you let them hang around, you have guys get banged up, now you have your backups getting thrust in a role. You have a guy like Purdy, who I have no shade towards Brock Purdy. I think some folks think he's Joe Montana and need to relax a little bit. But I have no shade because he's doing what he needs to do, manage the game, don't try to be a hero, rely on your guys, but then a couple guys are out, and now you got to be a little better. You got to try to.
You got to step up. That's when those tier 1 guys are tier 1 guys.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's that big difference where you have guys that go out, and that's when, because you can't rely on a guy in football to do it all himself.
No.
But when guys go down, like they lost Deebo Samuel and
they had
McCaffrey.
Trent Williams was out. So now you start to lose guys. Like we had lost, like our whole right side was out.
Yep.
So it's like that. It's going to bring you back down to earth.
Yeah.
And the fact that if the turnover margin wasn't -4, we probably still win the game. Right? If obviously San Fran, they hit that field goal, they win the game 6-0. Nobody's talking
no one's
about
talking. We're not even having this
like,
discussion.
And that's the thing with the NFL. It's like, people say it all the time. Anybody can win any week. It's true.
It's
fucking professionals, man.
Yeah.
They're all good. They all have jobs for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
The difference across the board is usually not like a man-for-man difference. It's the cumulative effect or the coaching or other factors. So, like, anybody can really beat anybody in the NFL. It shouldn't be that much of a surprise. I don't think the NBA is that different. It's just these guys are pros. They're going to have off nights or they're going to have other nights where guys are just better. You can't read too much into it.
Yeah, definitely not. But, we're wrapping up on this one right here. It's 2 closing ones. Sunday night, who's winning, baby? Flanny, what do you think?
I think
we got
win.
competition. We're watching it together.
I think the Eagles win. I do think actually losing to the Jets last week was a little bit of a wake-up call. Now it's a bit of a reset. Like, okay, if we play like shit, we can actually lose. I think through 5 weeks you don't lose. You're like, oh, well, we can always make it work. It's like, actually, no. You can actually lose if you don't show up. So I think that was a bit of a wake-up call. We should be fairly healthy. I think Lane Johnson's going to play. He sprained his ankle last week.
Right before he got here. They said he's playing.
Yeah, so he's going to play. I don't know how healthy he'll be, but that's big. Obviously, you're all-pro right tackle. The defense is what I'm worried about. We're banged up at every level. We have no safeties. Slay's coming back, so we got our corners. I'm really hoping that they go and trade for somebody, a Justin Simmons, pick a Budda Baker, something, because the secondary would need help. But I think this week they win. I think coming back home, you're in the link Sunday Night Football. They're wearing the Kelly green for the first time.
The Kelly
so
green.
they're going to be in the best fucking uniforms ever. I was very disappointed to hear that the Dolphins were wearing their throwbacks.
I don't get why not.
They could have worn their all white. Their white throwbacks are some of the best uniforms ever. That and the Kelly green would have been amazing.
It would have been perfect.
So I think with all the kind of energy in the building, them coming off that, everybody's been talking about them this week. I think they find a way to win.
Yeah, I did a podcast with my girl Allie. Shout out to Dolph Ricky. And we both actually said that we think we're losing this game. It's just then going into it, Dolphins just beat. I don't know what it is in prime time. They just fucking cannot win games in prime time. Pisses me off. And you got to do it as a team.
Yeah.
But it's something
Unless
about
you're
it.
the Giants, who please stop putting the Giants in prime time.
Oh my God!
Did you see that?
Did you see the?
They've had what 4-time prime games out of 6?
Yeah,
or
it's crazy.
3?
Did you see the Christmas Eve game? I think the Patriots and Broncos.
That's getting flexed, bro.
That you better get rid of that fucking game today.
100%, because that game, Cowboys and Dolphins are playing that game.
Yeah.
How isn't that a fucking prime time game?
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
On Christmas,
Broncos?
we got all these basketball matchups to choose from. You want us to watch this?
It's embarrassing. It's
That was like the Chicago Denver from last week. Everybody was talking about
my
this.
God.
Who would watch this?
It's crazy.
Did not. But yeah, I think we're gonna lose that game. But end off this one, NFL Super Bowl predictions. L, what are you thinking? Cowboys offense, maybe let's get it.
Again, I'm not gonna. There's not gonna be a
Super
situation. All right. So ideally, this is how it's gonna go. We're gonna see the Eagles twice, of course. We always do. We're gonna win both of those.
Okay.
Both.
The one in a couple weeks is where?
It's in Philly.
Okay.
It's in Philly. Yeah. So.
Okay. That makes you feel better.
That's gonna be a tough one, but it's
the one at the end of the year may not mean anything just because of when it is.
Yeah, but divisional games, especially against the Eagles rivalry, it's always a tough game. But I think
it's always a toss-up.
It's like a grind. So I got to pick my team. I think we'll run into the Niners again at some point because they've had our number the past 2 years. So I think,
according to your guys, they can't wait for that matchup.
Me too. We'll run that back and we'll see a different game plan, hopefully. So I'm gonna go Cowboys, and I'm gonna
back in the Super Bowl.
Deja vu.
Make sure you have this cut up ready.
I'm gonna go Cowboys. I'm gonna go Cowboys and Dolphins.
Let's get it, baby.
I don't know who comes out of the AFC. I was just thinking
that's a toss up. Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't love. It's Kansas City is gonna be Kansas City.
It's hard to bet against them, but yeah, I wouldn't put any money on them.
Yeah, no, wouldn't, because there's no sure thing out the AFC for sure. There's no sure thing in either one. But
unbiased here because you already cleaned them out of here. So
it's a little easier for you to say it now.
What am I thinking?
Definitely easy for me.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of checked out after having to watch the Giants every week. But I think it's a little like too early.
Cam's ready for basketball season.
Yeah, I'm so locked in for basketball. Like, Knicks are probably gonna upset me just as much as the Giants, but we're ready. I'm ready. I don't know. I mean, like I said, again, like the AFC, it's tough. It's like always a toss up. Me personally, I know people don't, but I love watching Kansas City play. I love Patrick Mahomes.
Me too. Yeah. How can you not?
How can you root against someone that's like we're witnessing history?
You got the Swifties on
and
their side.
Plays the game. He plays the game the right way
that.
too. That's the worst part about football right
Swifties
now.
on their side. Oh,
I don't know. I mean, I would say either Miami or Kansas. I'll take Kansas City just because of if I was a betting man, I would take Kansas City. Sorry, Effie, but
so we're getting anonymous off the course.
NFC. I don't know, man. I mean, San Fran's in the NFC, right?
Yeah.
I'd probably if they can keep up,
they're dominant.
Yeah, I would say San Fran and Kansas City. I would say that.
I'm sticking with my prediction to Patrick in September. I'm booking my refundable flight and refundable hotel to Vegas. It's upcoming soon. I'm going.
Super Bowl's in Vegas this year?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Dolphins Eagles, we're going, baby.
If that happens, yeah.
Dymar, sorry, baby. We got to go.
Pay for the trip when we get to the first crop stage.
I am going Miami over Niners, baby. Let's get it.
I'm going to just get this out the way quick. NFC, I'm picking the Niners.
Yeah.
I'm an Eagles fan. I think they absolutely can get there. If I'm picking right now, I'm thinking those are the two. I think Dallas will make the playoffs, which even that is a lot for me usually to say. Because the clock hits December and they forget how to play football. But I think they will make the playoffs, whether it is the division or wild card. I think both Philly and Dallas get in. I definitely think Philly can get back 100%. If they get healthy defensively, get back to their identity, run the ball, I think they 100% can get back. But if I pick today, I'm saying Niners. I think they're the most complete team in the NFC. That defense is loaded.
That front line.
They don't get enough credit. Fred Warner is like a whole linebacking core by himself.
I didn't know he was Spanish, first off.
That's so
random. I don't
random.
think I knew that either.
Yeah, he was on the Flat American commercial.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what the hell?
Cool. Yeah, he's an absolute beast. I think he's probably one of the most – he's not underrated, but I still think he's underrated in terms of how good he is. And that offense, McCaffrey, what is it, 13? How many straight games touchdown?
Right,
he's so good. Debo. I think Ayuk still has another level to reach.
I think
because he's the best wide receiver on that team.
By a mile. Yeah.
So I think last year I was on his bandwagon. I think I was a year early.
The year before, I think the year before too. You were
because I was drafting him. He was great in college. I thought he was gonna tear it up last year. It didn't translate, but I think he's gonna get there. I like their weapons. I like Purdy. I have no,
he's solid.
He does what he needs to do. There's no shame.
He's like Jimmy Garoppolo, kind of like 2.0.
He is a little bit like Garoppolo in terms of like he's not gonna make the mistake. He's gonna manage the game. I think a little bit of like obviously he's not the athlete of Russell Wilson, but like Russell Wilson on the Seattle teams was like, Russell, just do you. Don't make mistakes.
Yeah, those. So
I think Purdy can be similar. Obviously, he's got to grow. Do I still like, for instance, like last year, even though we knocked him out of the game and he didn't play, I was like feasting on the fact that we were getting to play against him in Philly.
Yep.
And so I think if you throw him in the fire, obviously you still got to see something from him. But I think if San Fran stays healthy, they got to be the favorite. They're probably the favorites. AFC for me is the big toss-up. Like. How do you not say Kansas City, right? But I guess for the sake of switching it up.
Make me feel good.
No, so right, you would think Kansas City. I thought Cincinnati coming into the year. I thought this was really going to be Cincinnati's year. They've been disappointing. Buffalo, I just can't trust Buffalo. I don't think I'll ever trust Buffalo until I actually get there and do it. Baltimore's another sneaky one where I thought if they could have stayed healthy, they could have made a run. There's no teams in the AFC that are like confident in that, but I guess that brings me to the one team who I think if they put it all together, Jalen Ramsey's back this week. He's not playing this week, but he comes back. Now you get an all-pro player. You throw him in the secondary, he can play safety. He can play the slot. He can play your number one guy outside. You have the depth up front. Tua stays healthy. Those playmakers are arguably the best in there.
Backfield.
I want to say Devon A-Chan, who for his entire life has been A-Chain. And I think I was the only person in the world who knew that from when he was at A&M. Now he scores touchdowns. He changes his name. But him and Mostert backfield, McDaniel, I think, is that type of mastermind who also is not afraid to take chances, try different things. I think if they stay healthy, I think it's the Super Bowl's probably Niners and Dolphins.
That'd be an entertaining one at least.
Not
being biased.
So first time in my life I've ever uttered Dolphins in Super Bowl, but I think it could really. I really do think it could happen.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's after losing tomorrow or Sunday. I still think they can get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I predicted us like 13-4. I don't think we're gonna go one game loss. Losses are gonna happen.
Yeah. You want to get those out the way.
Yeah, you learn from them, get them out the way. You know, as long as it's competitive, as long as it's not another fucking Bills game. If it's another Bills game, that's concerning. You know, but if it's like you lost my field goal, you're in it the entire game. All right, you live and you learn. But even if we like win, it's not that big of a deal. We're gonna lose some other one. We're not gonna go fucking 16-1.
It's the NFL. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're probably better off having some losses
Get 'em
at
out the
particular
way.
points in the season than trying to think you can run the table. But yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I think it's now heightened a little bit where only the number 1 seed gets that home field,
that,
gets the
for
bye
sure.
and gets
I
all
think
of that.
that,
So I
yeah.
think that's another thing where as long as you win division, then yeah, because I don't think you want to go to Buffalo or I think you want to go to some of these places. But if you can get that home field and have folks coming down to Miami,
Yeah.
I think you feel confident.
Oh, I'll be there losing my fucking mind. We get fucking second seed. Hopefully first seed. But even if we get home, maybe fucking host a game, I'll be absurd there. Probably grok
Yeah,
out
that
of
would be
my
the first time in ages that they
mind.
hosted a playoff
ages.
game.
Host a playoff game?
shit.
What? The 90s. I mean, definitely
Yeah.
never 2000s. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
damn sure.
probably Marino.
Yeah, not for
It
sure. It
wasn't
was
Pennington or any of those bums.
no, it was
Yeah.
not. We were definitely all away games. No, actually, we did host a game. We did in Pennington. We won the division when Brady got hurt.
Okay.
We got fucking ransacked by the Ravens. We lost like 38-13, motherfuckers. And they always kick our ass in the playoffs, bro. It's so fucking annoying.
But that's why Baltimore always is sneaky for me because the
Those fuckers.
coaching is so good. They always show up when they need to. Lamar is such an enigma at the quarterback position. He can do so many different things. Their defense is usually pretty good. So like they're one of those sneaky teams that you don't want to see them in the playoffs.
They'll make a run for sure.
Lamar or Dak.
Oh God.
Right now,
Hell.
the problem
if
is
Lamar Jackson was your quarterback tomorrow, you're the favorite to win the Super
I know,
Bowl.
yeah. The problem is Lamar's not even running as much anymore.
He's not. No, he's not.
I know.
No.
But the fact that you have to think about it, Lamar Dak.
Yeah, you get like
I
a
didn't
watered
get a
down.
second.
You get
I
like the
didn't even get
Kodak
a
Black
second.
version of Lamar. He's still
I
winning
didn't
the
even get a
Super Bowl.
second.
He's got that love connection to
Yeah,
Dak. I feel
I
that.
do.
I was with that with Eli.
I do
love
because
Eli like that. man.
because outside of football, I feel like Dak is a solid ass dude. Like you know what I'm saying?
He seems like a pretty decent
And
guy.
for me, it's hard to separate that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. But if Lamar right now, I take Lamar.
100%.
I think you asked me that like a year or two ago. I was like, Dak.
Don't beat the
It's like
Falcons. we can ride with Riddler and makes us fucking a contender.
I was watching McAfee show the other day, and they were showing just all still images of Arthur Smith's face on all the interceptions from Ritter, and it was so hilarious, so funny. I'm like, yo, how bad is it?
It's got to be.
But
bad.
this is also where, and this is a big issue I have. I think of Zach Wilson. I think of all these guys, Trey Lance, all these guys who do absolutely nothing in college or do something against terrible competition.
Yeah, and you're like,
and come into the league and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make you our number 1 pick and give you $1 billion. Like, yo, this person has done nothing in the college level. Like a Trey Lance played like 10 games in college against fucking, no offense, guys who played like 1 AA football.
Yeah.
Like, you think that guy's going to be now, like, it
Carry
just
your
doesn't.
team.
And even Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, sure, he played at Iowa State. So he played against good competition. He played for a long time, put a lot of good things on tape, learned how to play the position. It's translated.
You can see it. You can see that the difference is drastic. There's a reason why Brock Purdy is the quarterback and Trey Lance isn't even on the team anymore.
Yeah. So...
Well, he's going to be your starting quarterback soon, Al, so get used to it.
Hell no. that's the thing that I hate. As soon as they traded for him, I was like, bro, everybody,
so
the amount of
funny.
text
It
I
was
got.
so funny.
Oh, so Trey Lance, new starting
Especially if
quarterback.
Dak looks
I'm
bad.
like,
It's like, yeah, give the reins to this guy who's never played. Sure.
give me Cooper Rush.
But that is, and fucking Cooper Rush, even when he won a couple games, it was like, stay with Cooper Rush. It's like, but that's, I will give Dak. I think I've always been an apologist for Dak because it's not easy to be the Cowboys quarterback.
No.
That's
it's not easy to be the shortstop.
The Patriots, like,
yeah,
Mac is terrible, but Bailey's worse.
Yeah,
like, I don't know
that's
why
what I'm
people
saying.
think Bailey.
People are like, yeah, put it in Zappy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's easy to come in and have a couple game run when nobody knows who the hell you are or what you do or what you don't do. Then you get on tape. And it's like, it's not the
shut
same.
that down quick.
Talking about insanity right there, essentially.
Yeah.
You dealt with it yourself. Insanity.
Yep.
That was a good period in life.
That was
Life
fun.
was
Those were fun
great,
times.
man.
I was watching a thing on TikTok. It popped up the other day. Like, they were interviewing him for like this documentary with the Knicks, like that 2000s team, 2013 team. Or was it?
Was that a 30 for 30?
I think it was.
They
had
did.
one, right?
They did do one, if
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
But he
I
was
feel
like-
like there's been a couple. There was one on like Netflix, if I'm not mistaken, too.
I want to watch the whole thing, but they were talking about how his first few days with the Knicks, he would walk into like
I
the
seen
locker
that.
room, and they'd be like,
Where's your badge?
yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh no, players don't have badges, and he's like, what? Like, no, you need a badge. And I'm like, I play for the team, and like they didn't realize like who he was.
Hey, that man was cooking.
There
was that stretch was like
That
insanity
was
for real.
crazy.
I
was
remember
tuned
that
in, locked in every
watching
game.
it like, yo, he's doing this against like the best players.
Yeah, like,
it
against
wasn't,
Kobe,
yeah,
against,
like it wasn't, and like there's something to be said about that. Like it's not easy to do that. Whether it's one game, like how many people can you grab off the street and say, can you go in an NBA game and score a bucket?
And my favorite growing up was Stephon Marbury. Watching him play,
yeah.
man, he was like the first. I mean, for me, it was Carmelo, but like point guard wise, somebody like you don't really hear about. Obviously, he did his thing in Minnesota, but he was a beast too.
Oh, man, if
to
they
see him
never
ball
broke
out
him
against
and
the best-
KG up.
yeah.
That was.
Would have been nuts. No, he's cool. He's got a really good documentary too about his
I
time
saw
in
that.
China.
Yeah.
And just because, I mean, when he grew up, he was obviously the guy, like from
He's
a
like
young
Michael Jordan
age
down
and all
there.
that. Went to Georgia Tech, had such a great career. Then obviously the way things panned out in the NBA, and a lot of it wasn't how good he was because he's always good. It was just fit or off the court stuff.
Yeah.
Then it's crazy. Yeah, he goes to China, really humbles himself, and now he's got a statue. Like, they treat him like a king out there. Like,
Anybody have those Starberries?
Nah, never.
Didn't love him that much.
Nah, nope.
Didn't love them that much, but I do love the Dolphins this year, baby. We're taking home the Super Bowl over the Niners. So, man, I appreciate you guys coming through for the NFL podcast. Ran long. 4 of us can talk about sports. Hardcore. It's supposed to be a hybrid NFL and NBA.
Yeah, we didn't even get to hoops.
We didn't get to hoops yet. I don't know if Cam's catching. I know he's
We
a
gotta
pretty busy
come back
guy.
and talk hoops.
Gonna come back and talk some hoops. But I appreciate you guys coming through. Make sure you follow your boy, Flanny. Make sure you catch him on a PC game. Make sure you catch my guy, Cam, at URI. Basketball season coming up soon. You can catch him on ESPN.
ESPN Plus, yep.
ESPN Plus, baby. Make sure you give him that like, subscribe, send it to the moon. And my guy, Young Charlie, we'll be here a lot in this off season. Well, the season now. NBA starting up. Hopefully do some live casts. That'll be pretty cool. And let's get it up, baby.
That reminded me, I did when I had my podcast back in the day, shout out to Professor Corey, we did a live one for first game of the season, Haywood's first game with the Celtics.
Oh my goodness!
Worst one. I'm
It
not
wasn't a good live podcast. It was
not
about 10 minutes of dead air after 10 minutes of holy shit.
Yeah.
I can see,
That's not good. That's not good. We'll run this reel back with L saying that the Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl. Don't want to break his heart, but I don't know if it's going to happen this year, baby. Let's get it up. Make sure you follow your boys. Send us to the moon. Esh, get it, baby.
Peace.